Hey everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the HotGathering. My name is NPC Naut, and I'm one of the Twitch streamers here. The first episode of the Hot. And today I am joined by Mordicant, Salugi, and WreckNFeed.
Hi.
So if you guys want to give a brief, over of who you are, we'll start with Mordicant and just go sideways.
Hey, I'm basically Naut's friend from way back, and we've both been playing competitive card games forever. I played a lot of Magic the Gathering, won a couple PTQs, won some pre-releases, played a lot of Hearthstone, made it to Legend a couple seasons, and since then just saw Hand of the Gods come out, got interested, played a bunch of it, and that's basically where I am right now.
So if you guys want to give a brief...
Salugi?
Yeah, I think like a lot of people playing Hand of the Gods now, I started off with Hearthstone. That was my first kind of real experience other than just playing Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid. But then after getting a bit tired of that, looked for more in-depth card games. Stuck to Faeria for about a year and a half, and now I've moved into Hand of the Gods. It's pretty similar game style, but I really like a lot of the interactions in Hand of the Gods compared to other card games.
Cool.
Hey, I'm WreckNFeed, and me and my dad just recently started streaming with Hand of the Gods. I initially, when I started, it kind of did look like a Hearthstone knockoff, but with the board and stuff, I actually hadn't played a lot of chess type games like this, so it was really neat. So I was like, hey, I could start streaming this with my dad. We could do like a gimmick thing here, right? So I used to play a lot of Hearthstone and League of Legends, but this game's really caught my attention. It's pretty good.
What some people might not know about me and Mordicant is actually I have multiple tournament wins in League of Legends at PAX East, and he has one as well.
Oh yeah, I didn't bring up League of Legends because it wasn't really fitting into the card game theme, but we did that for a while.
Yeah. All right. So let me know, guys. What have you guys all been playing in Constructed, and what have you guys been having a good time with? I know that I have been playing more of a control style Odin, and it's been a great time there. Not quite as no Fafnirs, none of that kind of stuff going on.
I'm kind of on the mid-range Zeus plan right now. I've seen a lot of Odin, just like in ladder and stuff. So you get to have your Arachnids in the early game to trade with their dudes. You have your Judgments to do with their mid-range guys. You have your Nemesis. You have like a bunch of early game plays you can make. If you get an Apollo down, they can't deal with it. Probably GG for them. Same thing with the Arachne. So, and then you get to transition into like your bigger dudes, your Ares, and like your Artemis or whatever you want to be playing, your Athenas, and you can just crush them out of the game there. So it has a good matchup against Odin. It has a decent matchup against Hindu. If you just like keep making 1/1s with the Arachne, it's kind of hard for them to deal with unless they. Well, I mean, maybe not. I haven't played that matchup too much. Honestly, I haven't played too much of this game recently. I moderate for not stream, so I just there's so much Hand of the Gods in my life without me playing it that I haven't had a whole lot of experience recently. Just like, but the deck's solid and it curves well, and it has like a pretty good top end without being a control-y deck, and you can often just snowball in mid game and get that to a victory.
Yeah, I've actually been playing a lot of Zeus as well myself. I think for like the first 6 weeks or so that I was playing this game, I've just been trashing on Zeus. It was like literally level 5 until my friends got to the like grand final of the first qualifier using Zeus. So then I started picking it up, and it's actually like I'm falling in love with the deck. There's so many complicated interactions between cards, and there's quite a lot of cards that I think are really undervalued right now, particularly in this meta where ladder is very Hindu based. So there's a lot of pillars around, and there's also a lot of Aegean outcasts to go along with your poisonous Hi-Rez and stuff. So I've been playing Divine Vengeance, and that has just been amazing for me. And I've also teched in a Phantom Grasp and that card
Ooh.
does sometimes just win games single-handedly, especially
Yeah,
against
I actually
Hindu.
really like that against Hindu.
Yeah, no, Phantom Grass seems really spicy. Have you taken anything really sweet with it yet?
Oh yeah, taking plenty of Kalis, Agnis, some Wukong. It's great, especially
Ooh.
when it's their only card on the board. They think they've dealt with your board, and then you just completely switch that on them. I think Phantom Grasp is a really underrated card in this meta.
Oh yeah, it works really great against things like Kali because then it dies and you can use it again, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think the worst thing I've ever seen Phantom Grasps take is Anher. I had ritual tributed in Anher, given it +3 with Geb, so it was a 5/8 Anher, and then they just Phantom Grasped it.
You just had zero way to deal with that. Well, you're playing Ross. You have executes, right?
I didn't actually run executes in that deck.
What?
So.
There's a deck that didn't have executes in it from Raw? I don't
Oh.
believe it.
A lot of people are cutting execute now because basically it's been Tusky meta. So everyone's playing all the 2 damage things, and you have to find something to cut. If you want to stand it, yeah, Sunders are in, Fist of Gods are in, and you have to find something to cut. So I think executes.
Too many 5-cost cards. Geb and Thoth, right?
Yeah.
Between those two, and then you might want to throw a War Behemoth in there, unless you're using 2 Sacred Warriors or something, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of 5-cost cards for Raw. I personally, I'm going to jump on the Zeus train too. I actually really liked Zeus even before he was good. Like back in 5/5 Arachne days, I was like, I need to make this good. I really like Zeus. I like these cards. So when he got more powerful around the Artemis patch, I really enjoyed that because Zeus is fun to play. Just the way he flows is really great. When I'm messing around having fun, I also play a variant of Beast Ra, where you get a Suku, you give it Scarab's Blessing, and then you attack the base, and then you Dying Wish it and draw 5 cards and attack the base again. Never combo.
That's amazing.
A little bit of card advantage there going on.
I like it.
Now
you end up drawing your whole deck, right? Annihilation, Magma Slams. It's got a lot of direct face damage, so I haven't seen it perform well in the tournaments just because it does start a little bit slow, and it has a hard time keeping board, right?
We could fix that, right?
Bastet's cats are beasts as well, right?
Oh yeah, the Bastards with the hyenas. I've Dying Wished my own Bastards. Like give them Scarab's Blessing, Dying Wish them. My hyena turns into a 5/5. Or the cats, I've got them 3/1 cats from having 2 Basilisks out. So lots of synergy there.
Yeah,
That's really cool, actually.
I think Bradford Lee's gone quite far using that list in the tournaments. And it's really impressed me. I haven't actually had a chance to use it myself, but I was going to ask if anyone's tried it, because it looks really fun to play.
I was actually the creator, I believe. I didn't see it before I was playing it. And
that's sweet.
Burlibus saw me playing it, and because I played it against him, and he was just like, "Whoa, what was that, man?" And so, as far as I know, I was the first one to play that.
Yeah. Does that play Osiris? The one that reduces.
Osiris?
Yeah, the one that reduces by 1 for every friendly that dies.
Yeah, in the first iteration of it, I did have Osiris and Isis because I was like, well, I'll be drawing a lot of cards, and then I'll be able to play Osiris and Isis, like a combo, right? But it ended up being that it was better to just take a lot of direct damage and deal damage to their face, because between Annihilation and 2 Magma Slams and an Anubis, if you just target everything on their face, you can draw your whole deck in
they're like
before you're at 10 mana, right? So yeah, you're at half life. All you got to do is hit them a couple times with a Suku or a Hyena, and they're dead. Right?
I always feel like Annihilation dealing 4 damage to the core was kind of an interesting thing. None of the other area of effect spells do that to the core, as well as Anubis also hits the core. So between those 2 powerful cards, a lot of times you'll just find that you've done 7 damage to the core, when you're playing Rob. Besides the fact. And then it really makes closing out those games easier.
Yeah, he definitely has too much direct damage to the face for basically free, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there aren't really any restrictions on those cards at all. Like Magma Slam is just a good all-around card, and then it also goes face. Annihilation obviously is just a good all-around card, and then it also goes face.
I think Focus Blast does as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, Focus
yeah,
Blast
it
goes
does.
face too, but it's only 3 damage for 4
Yeah.
mana.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
also
Which is
heals
like-
you for 3, so
It heals your guy too. It's not great.
At least
com-
Execute doesn't go face.
Yeah.
Are we gonna be start seeing Zoo Burn Raw from you guys next? Is this the next game
Yeah.
plan? We're gonna be slamming a bunch of beasts into Burn. I can get behind that strategy.
What?
Yeah.
Well, so what can we do to shore up the early game of the deck then, if that's where it struggles? Are we playing?
Well,
I don't have a. but-
Bastet and Sobek's always awesome.
We're
at early.
definitely already playing Bastet for sure, because we need to do it with Hyena.
it generally depends on the draw. Like if you have a good draw, it'll come out great. But there are times when you'll draw all your Scarab's Blessings and Dying Wishes, and the Suku and Annihilation and Anubis. So it's just not quite consistent because of the combo cards that have to be in there.
Do we want to consider playing like one ward to help you get through the combo pieces if you draw them early?
3 mana
No.
for
I think
no
it's just
value
a
is
card that
kinda
doesn't
bad
do
in the
enough.
game.
It doesn't
Yeah.
really
Yeah, but I mean, if
get
you're
you
having
through the early
like,
game. You have to play it in the early game. It just wastes your board position.
well, yeah, but I mean, if your hand looks like Scarab's Blessing, Last Breath, or not Last Breath,
The
other
Dying
one.
Wish.
Dying Wish. If your hand looks like Scarab's Blessing, Dying Wish, Ward, at least like Ward will get you out of that position into something that you can play.
Yeah, but then your hand's gonna look like Ward, Dying Breath, like best position, whatever, and that's
Yeah,
just
but
bad
you
too,
can play
right? Like we don't want to be drawing that card is the problem.
I guess.
Right?
I do run Fist of the Gods and Sunders in there,
Mhm.
which kind of helps get through the early game. And then I've got Hyenas and White Tigers, so it is and the Basilisks. So it does come out early.
Okay.
It's got the same problems Beast Noir does. Like if it comes out right, it's gonna win, and if it doesn't come out right, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, Beast
How
Noir
would
just
Neath
doesn't
do?
have. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, how would Neath do in the deck? Because presumably, if you've got a load of pressure, you can just value trade, heal, and then just ping face with Neath and just burn them that way.
Sounds pretty good to me.
I guess if you have board control, yeah, Neath would be quite good.
Do you often not have board control at that stage in the game?
No. Usually you would have board control early.
My question is, do you even have anything to heal at that stage of the game?
Well, if you've got White Tigers,
I mean, yeah, White Tiger, but I feel like a lot of your minions as beasts die in trades to smaller units quite often, and like you're just
Well, you
kind
can
of
stick a
going,
hyena,
going
maybe.
face, right? Like Beset leaves 1/1s around. Most of you guys are like 2/2s or 3/3s that are going to die to most
Yeah.
things in combat. And then if you're the aggressor, then your core is not probably being hit as often. So my question is, do you actually have anything to heal for Neath to be good?
Magma Slam your face.
I mean, I've seen it.
Technically,
I've been
that's
there.
4 damage. What if?
5 damage, deal 4 to your opponent.
I mean, what if we also played like Canopic Jar with Kepri or something?
All right.
That's
We
probably too
brought
much,
Canopic
right?
Jar. We're out of here. All right. So
Moving
Salugi
on.
brought up a good point earlier, I think, about Phantom Grasp being a very underplayed card. Do you guys have any other cards you guys think are underplayed? I know that I've recently been playing Namco Warrior over War Behemoth and Odin, and I think it's really good. I think it's better a lot of times than War Behemoth. I've had a lot of people come into my chat and be like, "Why aren't you just playing War Behemoth? It's so much better." I'm like, "It's different. When you play
Yeah,
Namco Warrior, you
honestly.
attack and you can draw 2 or 3 cards that turn a lot of the times, whereas War Behemoth comes down, does nothing, gets silenced, and then dies." Especially because we don't want it to be Kali targeted either in this Hindu meta.
Right. And Nikon Warrior doesn't get hit by Kali.
So that would be my underplayed card of choice.
Yeah,
I
I
tend to
guess,
agree with you.
You could get the draw immediately, so that even if it gets silenced, like you've already gotten your draw off it.
yeah, I could see that being good. The one thing
I-
with War Behemoth, I think now, I think some some Odin lists are putting in Agent Outcast to counter Hindu, and War Behemoth can just be switched to 6 damage to the face as a lethal finisher, maybe even 12 with Hasten Fatalis. So there is that you can think about with War Behemoth, but I think Nikon Warrior is definitely very viable.
For an underplayed card for me, I have to go with Zabin Scout. I don't think I've like seen anyone playing this card, But if you're in Hindu or if you're in Odin and you drop a Zebin Scout, like suddenly you're generating like 5-6 zombies over the course of the game just from one card. I was playing when I was doing my Prodigal run, a lot of what I was doing revolved around make a guy turn 1, Zabin Scout turn 2, Gladiator turn 3, make another guy, and then Nacon Warrior on turn 4, and just basically draw as much as I could ever want, just with zombies and with like free charging dudes. And you slowly can move your Zabin Scout up the board, slowly move your gigantic wall of zombies up the board, just like pressure, pressure, pressure. And at the same time, you get to like continue playing cards because this is all just like free dudes left and right. So I think Zabin Scout is super undervalued right now, and like I don't think he sees any play. I don't think I've seen a Zabin Scout on ladder.
He's definitely good with Alpuk. If you guys know Antifida, he a devout fan of is it Alpuk? How do you guys pronounce it?
Alposh.
Alpwash. Okay, Alpwash.
It's weird. It's weird.
Okay, so he's a devout fan of Alpwash, and he runs like Zabin Scouts, Carrier Behemoths, the Hun Bats. So his whole thing is to have like little minions everywhere. And I know zombies don't turn back into other zombies, but he has other tokens in the deck, and he uses the Zabin Scout just to like flood the board. Too many zombies, too many effects that are great off tokens, and it's actually pretty decent against Odin.
What other tokens is he making?
I believe he runs I gotta think about it. He's got Corpse Explosion to use the zombies to deal damage.
So Antifa is a good friend of my channel. He comes in quite a bit. He was actually the first rank 1 player I ever played against. I played him about 5 times in a row, and I actually smashed him real bad with Alposh, and he was playing Raw at the time. But yeah, we've gone over the Alposh deck with him. Like me and him have gone over that quite a bit because that's what I got my first rank with, like 1 rank with, and he's definitely been bringing in some spicy ones for sure. I think he finally cut the Arguses to play that, but I do remember he was trying to get like a god version of the deck working first, and then the token one I think is where he settled in. Corpse Explosion was a little bit of a tech piece that I had been experimenting with that I handed off to him at one point.
And he was also doing the whole Camazot's Carrier Behemoth combo.
Yeah.
Where you have like 5 or 6 zombies that just can't reach your opponent's core. You play a Carrier Behemoth like 1 turn, and then the next turn you play Camazot's. He gets +5/+5. Your opponent takes 5 more damage, and they're just like taking 15 out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Corpse Explosion
was
actually
a pretty nuts combo.
Another criminally underplayed card.
Yeah, I agree.
It actually does damage to your core, like your opponent's core. So if you have 3 or 4 zombies around your opponent's core, like, and you have a Carrier Behemoth in play, you attack with all those zombies, you then explode them, and you're doing a huge amount of damage to their core. You might start to kill them.
Yeah, that's like 16 damage for 4 zombies or something.
It's not a joke.
The only thing about that, the only reason I would say that Corpse Explosion isn't underplayed is because Outwash is very weak right now. So like you don't see a lot of Outwash, so you can't really judge how played Corpse Explosion is. In my opinion.
It's true. That's fair.
But once the Blood Bond buff from this patch comes in, I think we'll see a lot more Outwash, and then we can start teching in the Corpse Explosions and the new drop from the sky. What's it called?
Death from Above.
Death from Above, yeah. The new Death from Above that leaves a zombie, I think, is actually really good.
Hey, can't be giving spoilers.
Spoilers. What are the patch notes already? Are we not into that stage in the talk show yet? Am I getting ahead of myself?
Let's
originally, sorry.
Go ahead.
Originally, when I played that card, I thought that's what it did because that's like kind of what the effect sounds like: drop a zombie from the sky and deal damage around it. So I'm playing the card and I'm like, "Where's my zombie at?"
You drop a corpse from the sky, an unmoving corpse.
Yeah, there's definitely some wording in this game that I think does need to be cleaned up. With that being brought up, I know that, like, for instance, if you look at Athena and you read it, they have everything under that war cry, but that war cry is not everything that card does. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that it's deployable anywhere on the field isn't part of the war cry, but it's definitely in that same line of text. So if you have Anher in play, they can still play that anywhere they want. And then they also have that Chinese card that says it can attack twice, but really it's just doing double damage.
Yeah.
when you play a
Right, like when
spell.
you play a spell.
So
That's
I would
weird.
really like them to kind of like clean up the language maybe, and maybe even change some of these into the keywords. Like for instance, we could have had Athena be deployable, and then Warcry does 2 damage to everything around it.
They did just fix Athena in point 33.
Oh, did they? All right,
Yeah,
good.
so that's where she deploys, and then the war cry is on the bottom half.
Oh, good.
All right, awesome.
Oh. Yep.
Nice.
Well, speaking of patch 0.33, let's go into the new cards that we saw for the last patch. Now that everybody's had time to play with them.
Oh wait!
Like before.
I wanted to do my snowflake card.
Oh, what do you say,
Oh,
card?
yeah.
Get in there, get in there.
Teleport. It
Teleport?
is great with Greek. So many times I've like had an Apollo in the back, just buffing him 2/4, 3/5. All of a sudden, Apollo's teleported to the back row. He's shooting things, Runestone of Fire, boom. Scotty, boom.
Nice.
And-
I like it.
I've definitely
Or
been
you
the
could-
victim of teleport a couple of times on the ladder for sure. That card can do things that you're not ready for it to happen. You're like, all right, I'll just attack his core next turn, and the game will be over. Oh, and my main's in the back corner. Oh, and now Artemis is killing my guy.
Someone tried a combo on me where they used Nike, put it on the back line, then the next turn gave it Sanctuary, so it was immune and can't be killed until the next turn, and then teleported it to my face.
They double damage it?
So basically, the idea was over 3 turns, it just kills you, and you can't kill it because it's immune to damage.
I know that
And
God,
wait,
stop.
yeah, there's a
Zeus has a double damage card, right?
Yeah,
Where, like,
Deathbringer.
yeah.
You can Deathbringer the Nike too.
Maybe
That could be
we'll start
24
seeing some
damage.
OTK Zeus. I love the
That
OTK
sounds
decks.
amazing. I'm gonna build this right now.
Get out of here.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. It's happening. You can't stop me.
Nike the teleport killer.
Actually, I don't think I have any Deathbringers. I have to stop myself.
I actually crafted those.
I can craft one. I'm gonna craft one Deathbringer for this.
I thought they would double the total attack, and originally
Yeah.
when I was trying it out, so I was like, oh, I'll just sit an Apollo in the back, I'll double them up. I was mathing it out. I was like, I need to get him to like 3 attack or something. Double him twice, I'll be at 12.
Nice.
I was like, easy games for days. He's got OTK easy.
And then he gets like +1 attack from Deathbringer, and you're like,
Oh, the sad
Plus
life.
one attack
The
and
sad
it
life.
feels bad.
I do want to say now that we've had a lot of time to work with Zeus that I feel like he is in a pretty strong place at this point. I think the Arachnia change was just what he needed. So and the Shock and Awe ended up being a lot better of a card than I expected.
Yeah, still a little frustrated that they made Artemis a card and at its power level.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Originally, I
Pretty
didn't
strong.
think Artemis worked the way it did. Originally, I thought it was going to be you target first and then you look at your card,
Yeah.
which seems a lot better to me. I know recently I've been getting really bad variance on that card quite a bit. I got shot with double Artemis yesterday, and I also got shot by Fire Giant yesterday, so that felt really good. In games I had win. Like if it wasn't Fire Giant, if it wasn't like 7+ damage, I immediately just win that game. And I lost 2 games in a like against Zeus back to back, where it was just like, well, I got variance real hard out there. Those are the kind of variances I don't like in these kind of games.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree
but-
completely.
When you're playing Artemis, you can like build your deck to do more damage with Artemis,
I mean,
Like, and I understand that
yeah.
it's like small percentage points, right? Because you can't put your entire curve at 8 mana, obviously, but like you can certainly increase your chances. Like if you play Artemis and Ares and Learning Hydra and Fire Giant, like you've got 5 chances to do 7+ damage on Artemis in your deck of probably 14 cards at that point, since you're on turn 7. So
it's true, but
it's pretty good.
most of the lists I've been seeing aren't running that many. Most of the time,
Well,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
they should have flipped a 2 or a 4 somewhere in that range, and the game should have been over. Instead, I got hit for 8, and like my Fire Giant that's in play died.
I get
Yeah.
teleport every time.
Teleport would have been the answer. I would have been saved. No problems.
This is why no one plays Teleport, right? Everyone's playing Artemis.
It's Artemis, yeah, that's it.
They don't want to hurt their chances.
All right, you guys ready to move on to the next stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we've all had time with patch 0.33, They brought in 2 new cards in that one, both for Odin, who really needed the help. Yeah. And so let's go over Fafnir. How have you guys been, who's played with this card, and where have they been playing it?
Don't start with me.
I'll start with you.
Don't start with me.
All right. I know I've played with the card quite a bit, and I felt like I was really worried about this card when it first started, when I first saw the patch notes for it, and then playing with it and against it, I'm actually less concerned with it now. I don't think it's quite as good as everybody was hoping it, well, despising it might be.
Yeah, I mean, a 5/5 for 3 mana is very strong, right? And like
Yeah,
the
for sure.
only really what that card reads is don't play Hydra or Fire Giant or Freya, right?
Curse Dragon too.
Yeah.
And Curse Dragon. And
You
Curse
also
Dragon.
can't
But
play
this
like
was-
Namkuns or War Behemoths.
War Behemoth. Yeah.
You can still play your Harpies and Departed Warriors if you want to get the card draw though.
I actually tried Arges, and it sucked.
Yeah, Argus. I'm not a huge fan of Argus.
Friends don't let friends play that card.
I don't know if it's quite that bad, but I'm not a huge fan.
So
Well, I figured you're gonna have no draw because you're killing all of your draw except for maybe Harpy. So if you throw Arges in there, you could throw like Scotty, Ymir, Thor, some of the stronger gods in there, and then if you plant an Arges and a Runestone, you're just gonna be popping gods off right into his face all day. But it didn't quite work as good as it sounded in theory.
Yeah, I think it's too slow.
I
Yeah,
guess it
playing
just
a
runs out
1/3.
of cards.
yeah, that's my experience. I'm able to most of the time just run them out of cards with my better
Yeah.
value from a lot of the decks I've been playing. Even like the bigger versions of Odin, just run them out, and then they end up dead. And like if you ever play Freya against that deck, you basically just win on the spot or some kind of board clear for all the 1/1s. Because most of the lists I've seen have all been token lists with the Fafnir.
Yeah.
I don't know if that seems to be right for everybody, but maybe that's just the wrong build, and that's why we haven't been seeing such good success with it.
I think the strongest list is kind of trying to use your Fafnir and your Skades early as burn damage, and then try and finish off with the Imperial Guard Charge Hasten Fatalis combo. I think that's probably because all those cards that you need for that are under 3 cost. So I think that's probably the strongest way to build that deck.
Is that just
you
8
will
damage?
get the damage. Depending, you can also have like daggers and stuff to build your Imperial soldier up.
Gotcha.
Backstabs too would work in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. So you can actually do a lot of burn in the early game and then just draw your combo. You've got the like Harpies and the Departed Warriors. So
Right.
should be fairly consistent.
That's also relying on starting with your power cards like Fafnir and
Yeah.
Scotty, right?
You can also play not Valhalla's Blessing. What's the other one?
Yeah.
The one that draws you a card from your deck for 1.
Draws
Makes
your
it
Norse
cheaper.
card.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got more chance of actually having Fafnir on 3.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know if you want to. Yeah, you'd play that on your turn too, right? So that if you draw the Fafnir, you can play it immediately.
Depends what
you-
your turn 2 is.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you have a 3-drop
Oh,
like a Scotty,
your turn 2. Yeah. I count the Mulligan phase as turn 1 just because of the way the mana system is.
Gotcha. All right.
But yeah.
So
yeah,
yeah,
I see
on
where
3
you're coming
mana,
from.
that's
Yeah,
when
on
you
3
play
mana,
Valhalla's
yeah.
Blessing. Right?
Yeah.
You don't want to skip your making your guy.
Exactly.
So does everybody kind of feel this card isn't super busted and constructed, or does everybody feel it differently?
Well, I made a deck that was pretty good with it. It ran Surters, token cards, and Siege, and basically it was just mowing down. You'd either win in 4 or 5 turns, or you'd be done. So the draw didn't really matter. But it did win more often than it lost. It was pretty fun, but like bad hands were
Real bad?
not come back. You couldn't come back if you just drew like a bunch of tokens and no mayhems or sieges, and then you'd just be pretty much Kepried and done.
So does this get the WreckNFeed seal of approval for ladder?
It's good for ladder, definitely. I wouldn't say for tournaments, just because control is a lot stronger, I would say.
All right. Speaking about Control Odin, maybe we'll move on to that next card. Now, Curse Dragon, this card is, a 4/5 range unit for 7, which Warcry leaves a column of either poison pools or will directly poison any minion that is in that column. So, how have you guys been doing with this card? What's your experiences been? Other than the art model's the best in the game?
I have 0 experience with this card.
Fair enough.
Haven't played a lot since patch 3.3 came out.
I've played with a fair amount. It's really nice against Hindu. As you'd expect, you just take out their entire backline, which is usually filled with pillars. I think it's a solid card. I don't think it's busted. I don't think it has any... it's very nice for Odin to force your opponents to spawn creatures on the front 2 of their columns rather than the back one. So anything you play is going to be in reach, or you can crippling curse anything that they play and trade. So I think it's quite nice. It's a very good design. I think it's just an overall solid card. Not too broken, but fits very nicely in Odin.
Yeah, I've been playing this card a huge amount, and I've found that, in certain matchups it is really good just to even leave the poison pools, just lay them down somewhere. Yeah. And obviously this card gets insanely better if you ever Instant of Iron in play, where you're just like, well, play my dragon, kill your guy with an auto attack, and wipe out your entire back row. So I've been liking this card. I don't think it's insanely good. I don't think it's overpowered. I think it's pretty reasonable level. I know WreckNFeed's been playing some Control. Have you been running the Curse Dragon?
Yeah, I've run the Curse Dragon. If you compare it to cards like Artemis, it's got the same stats, and just instead of doing damage to something and possibly killing it, you're gonna poison it and leave poison tiles. I mean, if you compare it directly to Artemis, it's about as good or better. You don't get the direct damage, but you got the poison. I'll be right back, guys.
No problem.
The only thing is that Curse Dragon's legendary, yes?
It's definitely legendary, yeah. So you can
and Artemis is not.
I feel like the most reasonable comparison to make for this card is going to be something like Anubis, right? Or Anubis comes into play, kills multiple guys, and then is a ranged unit on top of that, because all these powerful control effects need to be ranged for some reason. I don't get that.
Then they're more control-y, obviously.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like it pushed certain things over the edge that way. But I've liked this card quite a bit. I think it's a good design.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think you have to give real props to the devs for... It's a really creative design as well. It's not just that it's a nicely designed card. They're thinking kind of out of the box with the poison tiles, denying certain spawning spots. I think it's a really cool design, and they've done a great job with it.
I like it a lot.
They're following up on that too with the lava tiles, so you kind of have to start wondering what other kind of tiles they're going to be introducing.
Yeah, I mean, this game does, bring in from outside of other, where other card games can't do, which is this idea of changing up the board, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we've already had obelisks, which are blocks, but maybe they'll make something where you could actually place a permanent block or something. There's tons of different things where you could adjust the board in some kind of way, which would make the games really interesting. You know what I mean? I could see where a chasm is in place for 3 turns or something, where people can't walk over it or something like that. They have a lot of opportunity where they can work in mechanics that you can't see in other card games strictly because they're digital and you're played on a cool board.
Right.
I do like the tile effects, and I was actually hoping for something like that before they started implementing them.
Well, congratulations.
Are we still on Curse Dragon?
Definitely, if you want to be. We haven't left it yet. Go for it.
I wanted to note that I did some testing with it, and if you banish something that has been poisoned, it will die after the banish ends.
Good to know. So poison doesn't just last 1 turn; it remains until the card dies.
But as soon as the banish ends, so yeah. So if you banish them, they have no ability to attack or react to.
Okay. So it just comes into play dead, basically.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Who else up in that joint?
Maybe Shock and Awe gets better.
There was made a sneak appearance.
Hello.
Hi.
So So maybe Shock and Awe gets better since you can silence your own guys and get the poison.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
They're talking. My bad.
Does Shock and Awe target an enemy? I'm pretty sure it does.
Oh, silence an enemy and trigger
Yeah.
something else worker. Never mind, not Shock and Awe.
Anguish
Chinese
is one of those
silence.
cards that's really good.
Anguish too. Yeah.
I feel like
Oh.
Anguish hasn't seen enough play.
I'm wondering, can you silence the actual grid where the poison tiles are? Is that something you can do?
I don't think you can. I've never tried it
Unlikely.
though.
Because you can silence the summoning stone
Yeah.
but the
when
stone is
arcane
a
conduits
unit.
around it.
Well, not a unit, but like the stone
Yeah.
is an object you can target. I don't think you can silence the actual grid.
Be interesting to find out.
Yeah, no, I mean, if they add enough grid effects, we might be seeing a card that like covers up grid effects even, as something that could happen. So
Or,
there's definitely
that-
a huge amount
that-
of space to work in.
That Hindu card that silences everything next to someone's stone.
Oh, the Void Zone, yeah.
Yeah, the Void Zone.
But that's like a touch to the summoning stone, right? If you silence the summoning stone and that goes away.
Right, but like, say for example, someone makes a line of poison on your front row.
Oh,
and
that
you,
silence
like,
it?
Void
Yeah.
Zone yourself or something, you know. I don't think that'll silence it right now, but I think if they want to add playing with tiles to the game, then like maybe that's something they should think about.
I do know you can like remove poison with silence, right? And stuns, which is kind of weird
Mhm.
too.
Can you?
Wait, stuns
Yeah.
remove poison?
No, you
So
can
units
you can
only have.
you can
No,
remove
stun.
stuns with silence, and you can
Oh,
remove
yes.
poison with silence.
Yeah.
Yes. I was like, that's a very strange.
Which is
mechanic.
why, like, I think that like Anguish, for instance, never saw enough play because there's a lot of times you're just like, well, I'll silence your best creature, and now my 5/5 can attack.
Well, a lot of the time in Mayan, your dudes, almost all of them have effects, right? Like the only one is like Chalk, that you don't care about being silenced, right? So if someone like stuns your Kukulkan, you don't want to silence it to get it unstunned. You know, if someone stuns your Kabrakan, you don't want to silence it to get it unstunned. Like it's not worth. So I think that's a big part of why Anguish wasn't played. Or like a Willish, same deal. Like the only cards you don't mind silencing are like your Chalk and like
Zombies.
Shablanque?
obviously your zombies, but like you're not getting a lot of value out of stopping a zombie from being poisoned.
You gotta move it all
Yeah,
the steps.
like- Shabalan you can silence, but again, like getting him out of his stun's not that big of a deal. He's only a 2/2. I know he starts as a 2/3, but he's always a 2/2, right? Like how often do you
Yeah.
play Moon?
Oh, quite a bit against like Ra and those kind of decks.
Oh sure, when they play Neath and like Thoth and Anubis all at once, then you're like, all right, well Moon's pretty good here, but like most of the time, he's doing 1 damage to the board. It's like you need that effect in your deck.
Well, I think that kind of covers him in constructed. I do know that, like, for instance, I've been seeing some of these cards actually start showing up in draft. I did have one opponent who drafted at least 3 Fafnirs, which I kind of thought.
And it was really easy to keep everything under 5 cost. And that's currently at 5 and 1. And to be honest, I want to retire it. I feel really dirty playing it. But the deck's so strong. It's probably the strongest deck I've built, considering I've had 12-0 arena runs, but this feels even stronger than that. So I do definitely think that there's high reward for going for the Fafnir line. But yeah, I think it's fairly safe if
Yeah, I
you
don't
get
think
it
there's
early
one
on.
push. Yeah, you just need to draft it early. I think that's it.
All right, yeah, no, I had people, like I said, play 3 of these against me in a single game, which was a little bit
Yeah,
brutal.
but you won that game though, right?
I did win that game, yeah. I ran them out.
So,
I was able to
like,
kill the guys, and then they ran out of steam. Nothing to do after that point, which is
So
why
that's
I'm not
certainly
really,
an argument.
I'm not really
Very
sure where I
much.
feel about this card. I lost to that person later on in the same draft, though, so it's hard to say.
I think you have to be aware of the deck that you are building and know that you have to pick a lot of card draw whenever it's available if you do go down that line. So if
Yeah.
you see Departed Warrior, the value of that card goes up if you have Fafnir in your deck, sure. Whereas usually you probably wouldn't pick it.
And as somebody is bringing up here, maybe that they're talking about Fafnir equals a minor buff to Sagittarius. And I was actually telling Mordicant a story about that recently, where I was coining a Sagittarius out, and then I got a Fafnir attached to that for free, which felt pretty good.
Pretty sweet.
Especially since Fafnir's text it only applies if you actually put it in your deck.
Yeah.
Which means
Yeah.
that if you get it off Sagittarius, you can still play your 5 drops.
Yeah, so we were just steamrolling from that point on, basically.
It's pretty
4
insane.
mana for a 7/8 sounds good.
Yeah. Part of it ranged. Seems okay.
Also, Fafnir being a minor buff to Sagittarius, I think is fine, especially since Hindu existing is a huge nerf to Sagittarius. Like, I can't tell you the number of times I've seen someone play Sagittarius and get like a Pillar of Creation or a Pillar of Exile or like just something that absolutely does nothing for them except for take up a spot on their board.
Yeah.
So like, as long as those cards exist, I think printing Fafnir and having it be a minor buff to Sagittarius is fine. I like that Sagittarius can now high roll as opposed to just low rolling. Because like before, the high rolls were like Hao Yi and Soul, and like that was it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. That being said, I think maybe I want to talk about a little bit of the recent tournament stuff that's been going on. Some of you guys have been experiencing and playing in some of these tournaments, so maybe we can get your guys' opinion on this kind of stuff. I do know that for most of these tournaments here, that Hindu has been the ban of choice for most players going into this. That being said, Unscathed recently won the most recent qualifier, and he chose not to ban Hindu at all, instead playing a deck that was just good against Hindu and trying to beat it that way. What do you guys kind of think about that?
Well, Al kind of started that trend. You can call me Al, because he ran 2 agents in like all of his decks. Like, you got to be thinking he was thinking maybe like, is this a joke? Let's just put 2 agent outcasts in all my decks and not ban Hindu and see how it goes. And it went pretty well for him. Oh, he won.
Okay.
He won the one right before Unscathed did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right.
Now, from experience in other competitive games and in this kind of format, which is Conquest is what they call it, where you have to win with a certain number of decks, often the strategy has been at the top is to target a single deck because your opponent has to beat you with all of their decks. I know in these qualifiers, I think you actually don't have to play one of your decks throughout the qualifier, which is kind of interesting to me that their opponent still chose to just jam Hindu into their stuff over and over again anyway. I know that last tournament, for instance, we saw the same player jam the same lineup in the same order that he just lost in, which is kind of bizarre to me. I don't know what you guys think about that maybe. But typically, you are supposed to build your deck to beat a single deck of your opponents, because if they can't use that deck to then beat you, they can't win.
Right. Yeah. It's impossible for them to win with all of their decks, so it doesn't matter how many games you lose as long as you lose to that
but it
one
is
deck.
Pretty risky now because you don't have to get through. It's not a best of 5, so you can just not pick Hindu if you are worried about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I was saying about why it just seems
yeah.
so bizarre to me that like his opponent just chose to steal a jam the Hindu right into a deck that's been beating Hindu all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I played Unscathed and I just thought Hindu's so strong. I'm going first. I'm going to play it anyway. And my Hindu was actually the deck that got through. So that part of his game plan didn't work for him.
Gotcha.
But overall, I think what Unscathed did well is he found a really strong Spell deck and led with that in all of his games. And I don't think anyone expected that.
I've been saying it. I'm so happy.
Yeah, Mordicant feels very justified. He's been supporting the Spell Niwa deck for a while now, saying it was probably the answer. So
especially because it's
points
so
to you.
underplayed, criminally underplayed. No one plays that deck right now.
We'll give you 1 gold star
since he just won with it. But like, like a week ago, no one was playing that deck, and I was like all about it. I was like, someone needs to be bringing back Spelwa because it's real.
I was trying to find some version of it that would beat kind of Beastoir, and I was playing all these Arcane Conduits and like stuff like Clear Mind, trying all sorts of stuff. And
I don't think Arcane Conduit is actually good against Beastoir.
Yeah, exactly.
They get their damage up. All they have to do is hit you once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of my attempts, I just couldn't work out a good deck, but he's actually found the deck to bring, and I think it's pretty highly optimized. The version that he's got, it's pretty spot on, and it crushes Hindu as well.
I need to go look at his list.
I think it was designed originally to kind of make sure it beat Hindu, because he thought he was just going to queue into Hindu if he left it open.
Yeah, I mean, if that's his plan, it probably is designed to be.
Which is why, like, when Hindu is left open for all of his opponents, it's kind of confusing to me. Now, I get what you're saying, where maybe Hindu is just so good you run it anyway, which has been the case in some events for certain decks anyway, where it's just like, I don't even care. Like, you're playing the deck that's supposed to beat this, but most don't anyway. I believe you got fourth that tournament, right?
I got fourth both tournaments this weekend.
Ah.
Congratulations, but also
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta make it to the next one, right? You're gonna win this next one.
I'm gonna try at least get a bronze medal. That's the target.
Bronze medal? No, go for the gold. That's the target.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try. I've put a lot of work in, particularly trying to mess around with Zeus a lot, try and find a build that consistently beats Hindu, but it's difficult. I think the one thing is everyone goes into these tournaments, or they did until this weekend, with a strategy in mind, and their strategy is based around their opponents banning Hindu. So I got to a point where someone didn't ban Hindu, and I was like, oh my god, what do I do? What do I open with? I have no idea how to play now. Just because you are thinking all these things that you said before, they've probably teched very hard against Hindu, and now I was doing the same thing. So basically my strategy was to target Beastoir and make sure that I get through that. But he banned Zeus, which was my complete counter to Beastoir.
Yeah.
So I was like, my strategy was completely out the window from that point.
I know for me that if I'm in a situation like that, I'm just going to run the most aggressive deck I have under my decks if I'm on play especially. You know what I mean? If I have access to an Odin and my opponent's baiting this weird deck, I'm just going to run Odin and hope whatever they're trying to do just can't beat an Odin.
But isn't that what Unscathed banned?
Unscathed was banning Odin, yeah.
Yeah. So then, if I have a Beastoir, I'm going to run Beastoir. If I have
It's about 200 feet of fence. How much is that?
So tournaments.
If Hindu gets banned, I generally play my because you do know that they're going to be teched against Hindu, and I didn't practice a lot with Hindu, which is probably not good. But I just wasn't expecting Hindu to ever be played or for me to be able to play Hindu, right?
Yeah. Which is also a good reason not to ban it.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot of people who do that.
There are,
that has happened.
I mean, I don't. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think a lot of people don't enjoy the Hindu playstyle. So
I think the Hindu playstyle is abysmal. I think it's so bad for the game. If you're a new player, just imagine this from a new player's perspective, especially, and you're like trying to play ladder for the first time, and your opponent's like Hindu. Are you ever going to want to come back to this game? Like, imagine a situation where your opponent plays double like Pillar of Earth, and your deck isn't like great against that. Like, who wants to play that? I don't even like playing with that. And even when they're like, they have this all locked down, it takes 4 or 5 turns for them to kill you still.
Yeah.
There's certain aspects that I quite like. There's a lot of decisions. It's very control heavy, but I just think you just have infinite value with stuff like Aspect of Life and Illusion, and it's too much. So there's parts of it that I really like, and parts of it that I think have just gone too far.
I've been saying that about. Oh, go ahead.
They've got too much anti-aggro coupled with more value and board control than anybody else in the game, which means as long as they can beat whatever rush comes out, they will generally beat everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just very slowly and painfully.
Yeah, and that's really the problem, right? It's not like these wins are like in a reasonable time period. They take forever to happen. And my problem is I feel like people who aren't playing this deck very well are still going to be winning more games than they're going to be losing from it.
Yeah.
Right? So like what you're talking about, like there's a lot of good decision making that you can happen, and it'll make the really good players shine. I feel like, for instance, if we're not talking about tournaments in particular, we're talking about ladder, for instance, where most players' experience is going to be. It's terrible. You know what I mean? Your opponent can make the wrong decision 4 or 5 turns in a row. You can watch them make all these wrong decisions, and they're still going to outvalue you and still take over the board.
Yeah, but the same can be said about rush decks as well at certain times. Sometimes you do just get a bad draw, and even though your opponent's playing terribly, they win because they got the draw. That's kind of part and parcel of card games. It just kind of feels worse with Hindu because the games go on so much longer.
Well, my difference I feel like between aggressive decks that do that and the non-aggressive decks that do that is even if your opponent's playing this aggressive deck incorrectly and killing you fast, you're not waiting around for 2 hours. And on top of that, I feel like these aggressive decks don't have the raw power that the Hindu deck has. Right? The Hindu deck will beat you in the late and the early game and stop all these aggressive decks in the meantime. So I feel like they have way more bases covered and they do a lot more flexible stuff. Whereas, like, if you do draw a reasonable hand against Hindu, you can still lose the game. Or if you draw a reasonable hand against a player playing an aggro deck who isn't very good,
and
they're making the wrong mistakes, you're going to win that game. It's about the fact that, like, one of them is caused by the variance of drawing a bad hand, which even if their deck wasn't aggressive, you might still just lose that game, versus a non-aggressive deck where you might just get. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So that, I feel like, has been our experience.
Yeah, now we've talked about how frustrating Hindu can be. Patch notes.
Patch notes, yeah. Let's move on to that.
Well, hold on.
Segue.
Do we feel Hindu needs a bunch of changes before we look at these patch notes?
Well, they're getting changed in the patch notes.
Are they? All right, good. Another thing I want to bring up is that everybody in the top 4, for instance, of the last event, was playing Odin.
Yeah.
And I feel like Odin's still getting more cards and really hasn't been toned down. At least, maybe they have been in this next patch notes, which we'll be going over here in a second.
Down a fair bit.
But I feel like this deck is still like the best deck that keeps getting a pass.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any comments on that?
They're getting a nerf in the patch notes as well.
For sure.
Are they? All right.
So I think we should just move on to the
patch
patch notes.
All right. We'll just jam out those patch notes. I'm going to bring them up on the screen now, guys. And here they go.
Fun part. Yeah.
Yeah, let me see if these are actually readable on Twitch.
Not very readable.
Really.
What's up?
Yeah, I can't really see them on Twitch.
Yeah, zoom in on the browser.
Zoom in the browser? I can do that. Maybe. I don't remember the key for it, but we can do it.
Control and mouse wheel.
Now they have all that garbage. Hold on, I can remove elements. A little bit less.
Oh no, Mango Teeny. I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
I don't believe you, Mangotini.
That WreckNFeed fellow who's beating you up with aggressive Odins. Man, what a jerk. God. Terrible company that guy would be.
Is it my stream or are all of our frozen stream?
Let me double check.
Oh,
we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. It was probably on my end.
Okay.
All right, there we go. All right, so let's get into these new cards and how everybody feels about these. We can go over Constructed, we can go over, Arena, whatever you guys want to do. So let's go over Kronos, the new Greek card, a ranged unit god. He costs 5 mana, is a 4/4 epic, and players' turn lasts 20 seconds.
I'll be right back, guys.
I think one of the saving graces for this card is the fact that when animations are happening, your turn doesn't tick down.
Hey.
Yeah.
I think that's very important to note, because otherwise some of the animations in this game really do take a long time. That being said, players' turns lasting 20 seconds, a lot of people like to take their turn and then like alt tab and like go AFK for a minute. You can really like catch someone off guard with this. Also the fact that it's only an epic instead of a legendary, and you can play 2 of them in your deck, and the deck's only 25 cards, and there's a lot of draw available to everyone. You can see this pretty much every time you want to. So I think you could do a lot with this card, especially against some decks that are going to have a hard time making decisions. Since you're kind of mid-rangey already, you're going to want to be playing your bigger minions around turn 5, and like a 4/4 is okay. And this is when you want to be taking control of the game. So you're going to be forcing your opponent to deal with your stuff, and since you're in the proactive spot, turn only taking 20 seconds is very good for you.
Yeah, maybe this is the nerf to Hindu that we actually need.
I know. I'm one player who plays most of my turns out pretty quick as I'm thinking about them during my opponent's turn most of the time. And there's nothing that drives me more insane than when a player goes to clock every turn, like on the most basic decisions, like, oh man, I like have 3 mana. Should I play this 3/3 or this 3/3? And they clock down like the whole thing and then just like drop like an Elder Harpy, and you're just like, I'm gonna kill you. So you know what I mean, or like where it's been like the same decision they've had to make like over the last 3 turns, they still just haven't done it. And, like they keep going this thing and they just like hover over the same unit, and you're just like, just either do it or don't. Like end the turn, come on. So I like this card idea. Unfortunately, I'm not really sure how competitive it's going to be. It is range though.
Yeah, I think it's terrible. But I
don't think it's built as a competitive card. It's just going to be a lot of fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to turn the game kind of into speed chess, like Blitz. I don't know. I think you just sit this on the back line and let Havoc unfold.
Is this the arena card where we just give good players wins because they can play fast?
I'm down with that.
I mean, it's a god, right? And that's kind of one of those things, like a ranged unit god that's 5 mana, it's reasonable bodied, that I feel like Zeus wants in arena.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know a lot of times in arena you don't quite get enough gods sometimes, and I feel like this is one of those cards that's going to help out with that a lot. All right.
Yeah, and if you drop it, you don't know what to do. Just buff it, attack face, and pass.
All right. All right. Let's move on to this next guy, Xing Tang. How is that pronounced?
Probably Xing Chan.
All right, we'll go with that. All of this stuff. Sorry about that, guys. Once again, OBS has crashed twice now, which is unfortunate. So we have it all running again. All right, there we go. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay.
All right, go on.
Should we go back to Aftershock? start Aftershock over?
Yeah, let's start Aftershock over for everybody. This is going to be fun to edit.
Quick points on Aftershock. It's good in the early game and also good later in the game, as opposed to some cards like Sunder, which are only ever going to be 2 damage. However, at the same time, I think 2 mana for 2 damage is not great, and also 2 mana to deal 5 damage to a stunned unit is also not great. So even though it has application in both the early and mid to late phases of the game, it's still only okay. Especially if something is stunned, I want to have a unit on board to take advantage of that, not have to be casting another spell.
Yeah.
That's the quick rundown.
Its value goes up a bit in Beast War, where you play Tusky as well as Calamity.
It's very good with Tusky, you're right. That's good.
But definitely not strong enough to see Pummel get played.
No, certainly not.
I mean, is this good enough and constructed for us to be playing it? I mean, is it like the Tusky stun? Like, we have to have this and Tusky in our hand, right? And it's a total of like, what, 5 mana now?
I think that's fine.
To kill a unit, and then we don't really get any value off of our stun.
Well, we do, right? Mm-hmm. Because we don't have to waste an attack.
Yeah, but we're making now, like, super chalk for 2 cards, right?
Yeah, I guess it
okay.
would just end up converting to face damage, so instead of trading, you hit face. So maybe it's worth an extra 3 damage. And I think there's some variants of Beast War in particular that are more burn-orientated, that run stuff like, what's it called, Siphon Mind?
Mm-hmm.
And also
Dragon
Dragon King Inferno.
Yeah.
So if you do actually use that card to kill a unit and then you get an extra face damage, that might actually make the difference. So I could see it seeing play.
Yeah, I agree. I could see it with Tusky, if you're playing Tusky and Calamity, which most Beast Squad decks are. I'm just not sure what you cut for Aftershock. So, I don't know. So moving on to Beckoning Strike.
It's not back yet, okay. Alright, let's go to the Beckoning Strike. Beckoning Strike is a spell in the Chinese Pantheon that is 3 mana, rare, deal 2 damage, and spawn a random 2-cost unit. This card seems really good to me.
I think it's really strong.
Yeah, right? I think, especially since it's not 2 cost or less, which means you're not getting any zombies, you're not getting any Odin warriors. You have to get at least. You're not getting Hive.
I can only imagine
at least something.
Like if you're playing Beast Nua and you were ever to get like an Arachnia, right? I mean that's obviously like the highest level of like the best roll. But It's any unit. It's that's 2 cost from any pantheon.
Well, how many
Yeah.
how many 2-cost units are there?
There's
Not that
a
many.
lot of them are beast. There's like 40 to 50% of them are beast.
Yeah.
Because you've got to consider Calder, you've got to consider Nemean Lion. There's stuff that-
Basilisk, Hyena.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
gonna count Arachnia
And-
as a beast. A lot of these cards are
So-
really good.
And then yeah, there's a couple of bad pillars from Hindu that you can get.
Are there?
Like Pillar of Exile, you don't really want to get because it'll do nothing.
But that's like the only one, right?
Yeah, I think so. Pillar
It's just Pillar of
Parity,
Exile. Parity is
Yeah.
fine. Earth is fine. Fortitude is fine.
Well, Fort's
Rama-
moving.
you won't get Fortitude anyway.
It's moving 3.
Oh no, Fortitude's getting moved to 3, but Rama is fine.
But yeah, I
Right.
think
All right, let me
a lot of the 2-drops are actually very strong
get WreckNFeed back into here.
in the Pantheons. Like Sobek, you'd be happy with. You'd be delighted with Ratatoska.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a very strong card and will probably be in all of the Beast War decks.
I
And
agree.
Probably the reason why Aftershock won't see play is because Beckoning Strike just kind of outclasses it and they're competing for the same spot.
All
I
right,
think you're right.
and now everybody's back in there. All right.
Except,
Are we good? Did we get fixed?
Yep, you're good.
I don't know.
Oh, that doesn't look fixed. There we go.
Aha! Alright, okay. We made it.
I'm taking some serious aggro, guys.
Hello everyone, we're back.
All right. So that's kind of Beckoning Strike. I think the card is going to be very good.
Yeah,
think
solid. I would even pick it in Arena.
Yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure. It gives you so much value. It kills a guy. It kills you a lot of it kills a lot of the problematic creatures that can come down early in the game, and then also gives you a
Pillar of
guy.
Exile.
Mm-hmm. And if you ever get it with an Auk, well, never mind. That's like silly to even consider as a corner case.
It makes Beast War so much better going second as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. Make a blade on one, or just coin it on one is really
Yeah,
good.
exactly.
Yeah.
Clean it on one, you kill their stuff and develop your own stuff. I think this is a really strong card.
I do feel like
All
this.
right, it's got a pretty good chance of getting a beast on there, huh?
Like a really good chance.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like 50% or so, or like an Arachnia.
Not bad.
That being said, you kind of brushed on something I want to talk about really quickly about going first. Has anybody seen any stats for like going first versus second and like the win rates for those yet? Have they released any of that kind of stuff? Because I feel like going first in this game is more favored than most
Yeah.
card games. And on top of that, they made cards like Gift of Moonin, which makes it even more favorable to go first in those weird classes that are already good on the play.
Yeah, I would say that going first is definitely advantage. And I think it's partly because of how strong all the 2-cost cards are.
It was up here.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
And
Yeah.
since the hand sizes and the deck sizes are kind of small, it's unlikely that you're going to be dropping 2-drop into 2 more 2-drops on turn 3 with the coin to try and get back.
I think also something is there's a couple of 3-drops that are pretty snowbally. I'm thinking particularly Tusky, Serta, and then stuff like Sol as well is still very strong. Apollo. So if you're ahead on board on turn 3 and then you drop one of your snowbally 3-drops, you can just start winning the game from that point.
Yeah, I think
So I
Surtur
think
is
it's a huge-
insane.
Yeah.
You
I
do have
think
to be ahead
it's
on board for,
way too good.
for all of those cards to be really good, though.
Yeah.
And so that's like another thing for makes going first better, because those
Yeah,
aren't
exactly.
like 3-drops that you want to be coining.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next card that we've gone over that. And what is that? Chandelier,
Caldera Nova.
Caldera Nova. It's a Roman card, and this is one we were talking about with the lava tiles and some of the new space they're exploring.
It's terrible.
Explode all lava tiles. Deal 1 damage to adjacent enemies. If this card is included in your deck, the match starts with 2 lava tiles on the battlefield. And I think lava tiles deal like 1 damage to anything that's left on them at the end of your turn. So you have a turn to
Yeah,
like push
by themselves.
things onto them.
Right.
That being said, it's a 6-mana card that doesn't do that much.
Yeah, and Roman already has such good AoE.
Yeah, I mean,
It
why
doesn't
would you
need
play
to
this over
cover
Rain of
this.
Arrows even?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
Yeah,
like
forget
yeah.
Dishonorable and Bludgeon. Why would you play this over Rain of Arrows?
yeah, I mean, like,
Question.
those other cards are just like untouchable in the area of effect spells, right? They're just so good. Like, so the only one you could even think about would be like Rain of Arrows, which is insane as well. And this
But, like,
card
it's
is just
3 more
bad Rain of
mana.
Arrows.
Yeah, it's not even as good as Rain of Arrows, and it costs twice as much mana. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's
the
insane.
lava things are okay, but the card is literally unplayable.
If you could place them where you could, like, for instance, place the lava tiles like at the start of the game, so you like against Odin, you have 2 lava tiles next to your front of your core or something, I could see it being reasonable. But other than that, this
Yeah.
card seems pretty joke-worthy. I don't know. This card is gonna get toned down mana-wise at some point for sure.
It'll have to.
Or they'll have to add some other kind of card design that takes these lava tiles into effect that would make you want to have them out and play, right? Like if they were to make a card that's like 2 mana, like all units near the lava tile die,
Yeah.
then you might consider playing something like that.
I really
guess-
just want to see like a draft deck with 6 of these, and just like half the board is lava tiles. I would love to see that.
Is that how those work, though? Do they add lava tiles with every one you have?
I mean, I hope so. It says if this card is included in your deck, the match starts with 2 lava tiles. So if you have a second one, you get that clause again, I would assume.
I would assume you get 4. Yeah. Otherwise, this card is just so
I'm not
bad.
sure.
I'm not sure
If you have
either.
4 tiles in play, like at 6 mana, the explosion might be reasonable, but even then, it's still too much mana, I think.
And then the
Yeah.
second one you draw is worthless because there
Yeah.
aren't any more lava tiles. So like you don't you want to play 2, but you also don't want to play 2. Like
It's
this
really
design
bad.
is
The
yeah,
second
no,
one's a
really.
dead card, yeah.
Right, exactly. Like completely dead. The first one is already not very good, but the second one is actually worthless.
Yeah, no,
Like
for sure.
unless when the lava tiles explode, they stick around. That would be the only thing.
In the video that we watched, where they were doing the patch notes, it didn't look like the lava tiles stuck around. It looked like they left. When
That's just
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
and yes,
That's
that's
just
awful.
maybe it only explodes the lava tiles that it spawned.
Well, how would you know then, right?
Exactly. You
Th-
wouldn't
this
know which
ju-
ones
this
are
just
explode.
is. This seems like a mess.
It's yeah.
It just
This
doesn't
needs
seem
a
very
lot of
good,
work.
and it seems like they need to work on this a little bit more.
Maybe there's some cool synergy that we're missing. I mean, I guess with Venus on the board, you blink their guy onto a lava tile, it's 2 damage. But
But you don't even get to choose where the lava tiles go. They spawn randomly.
yeah. Yeah.
The lava tiles
Damn it.
themselves, I don't
It
know.
appears that they're random from the video we saw, guys.
Yeah.
We need some other way to put lava tiles onto the board.
Oh, that's what I'm wondering. Maybe this is just the first card in like a line of cards that are going to have
Yeah.
this kind of effect,
Maybe
right?
maybe
And
if it's
then
got-
and then it starts getting better. But as like far as like a design space, it kind of seems weird to be doing this. Like, right, we just had that cool dragon that had good effects, and now we're like getting this 6 mana card that doesn't do anything better than Rain of Arrows.
If
But it
this
is-
was
it is
attached
showing-
to a minion, it would be quite cool.
If
But
this was
just as
attached to a
spell-
minion, I could see it being reasonable, right?
Yeah, I'd be down with that.
And then like when he comes into play, the lava tiles erupt. Like, the battle
Right,
cry
yeah,
would be
that'll
his
work,
lava
right.
tiles erupt. And then
Yeah.
like maybe you get somewhere out of there, and it'd be like good against the aggro decks potentially if it was like low cost enough. But
Like 4
even
mana.
then, it's kind of just bizarre.
If it was like the war cry was to place 2 lava tiles and then the death rattle to explode them.
Oh, I like that game
That'd be
space
cool,
a lot
too.
better.
Yeah, I like that.
And we have War Cries and Afterlife here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're the one saying battle cry, not.
I'm just
we're
joking. I'm just joking. All right, guys. Let's move on from that card. I feel like everybody thinks it's gonna be a constructed mess and probably also an arena mess, and not
Yeah,
worth
Unless you get
drafting.
like 5 of them.
Yeah, but then only one of them is good, and you have 4 dead cards, right?
Yeah, but there's also lava all over the place.
Until you play one.
Yeah.
What happens
Alright.
if you draw 3 of them in your opener?
You feel bad.
F6.
Rip.
Hey, people, chill. Resurrect is when something comes back to life. Afterlife is what the effect that happens when they die.
All right,
Right.
guys.
It's both of those, but they're different keywords.
Yeah. Let's go into Equalize.
You mean
Hindu.
Century Ward, but better?
Well,
Pro-
it's like
probably.
it's like normal board, right?
Draw a card from your
Yeah.
deck and from your opponent's deck.
But it makes you
Um,
fatigue at the same rate as your opponent instead of you fatiguing 2 cards faster.
Essentially ward plus ward.
This card just doesn't seem like it's that great, right? Most of the time, like, your deck is designed in a certain way to do a certain thing. Taking cards off, like, from your opponent's deck is not what you end up doing. You'd rather just draw 2 cards. And then that being said, a 3-mana card that does nothing most of the time isn't great. Like, you just drawing the cards isn't really going to get you ahead on the board, because you need to have board control in these games.
Yeah, like, it's okay, but it's not great.
I think Hindu is the exception where you don't actually need board control in the early game, because you can just Aspect of Life, Acne again. But I think the problem with this card is that you're Hindu. You're going to outvalue your opponent anyway. You don't need to draw 2 cards, one from your opponent deck, because you're not really...
Where is it?
It's not going to change anything. You're already winning the value game.
I feel like when you look at cards like
I
this...
think it has a place in Hindu.
I don't think it does either. I think this card doesn't do much. It's one of those things that, too, like, when you look at a certain cards, I feel like this is one of the best ways to do it. It's like, what are you going to cut from Hindu to play this card?
Yeah.
I can't come up with a card that I want to cut to play this card. All the other cards are just better. So, you know, maybe a different meta, but even then, it's kind of bizarre.
Like, what class, like, what Pantheon would you play this in?
I'm not sure I'd play this in any Pantheon, right? I feel like Hindu is probably the best Pantheon for an effect that does this kind of a thing where it's like you draw 2 cards at the cost of 3 mana and then don't get control of the board.
I play Odin.
What about an Upwash so you can actually draw some good cards?
I mean...
Come on. Salugi, you're such a savage.
Oh, hating on my zombie bringer. Hey man, we're getting Bloodbond back. It's coming.
Yeah, Bloodbond's getting buffed in this patch.
Then we'll hear you say these horrible things. Well, I mean, like let's look at the cards they like added right to Alposh, like Gravedig, which doesn't say non-zombie on it, which means the card's just awful. Like the best one, the best one we have right now is like bringing back 2 cards from your graveyard that you've already played, and that's not really great. But I feel like you just don't even really want those effects most of the time in Alposh. I feel like I wouldn't play this card unless I wanted to make Alposh worse.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing against Hindu. I mean, if you're playing against Hindu, it's always...
Yeah, anytime you're playing against Hindu Equalize is great, right? Steal their Aspect of Life, steal their Pillar of Patience. Like, they just have so many cards that'll cold stomp you that you can just take away from them.
Yeah.
I was trying to make decks that were specifically good against Hindu, and one of my ideas was to play Zeus with Sentry Ward and Phantom Grasp, and I called it Hindu North. Or Hindu Zeus.
Hindu Zeus. I like it. Hey people chill, I wouldn't play it in Raw. If I'm trying to find my Annihilation, I just want to dig 2 cards deeper in my own deck.
Yeah.
Alright.
But I would consider playing it in Odin. I would especially consider playing it, I guess it wouldn't work very well in Fafnir Odin, huh?
It's just so bad. The card is just terrible.
I would consider playing it in like a fast Odin list without Fafnir, because if you start to run out of steam, you draw some cards. You already have board control. That's pretty much a given since you're playing fast Odin. But running out of steam is what you want to worry about. So this way, you can draw something from your deck, and you can also maybe draw something a little bit bigger from their deck without having to clog up your hand in the early game.
The biggest problem with taking cards from your opponent's deck is that your deck is made to do a certain thing. So your cards are most of the time better in your deck than your opponent's cards are in your deck. You know, there can definitely be circumstances where you're like, oh, I ripped my opponent's Fire Giant, or they're Kali, haha, I'm the best player in the game.
No.
But even most of the time, that's not the case.
Even without that, I would still play it in a fast Odin deck because I want to draw anything that costs like 4+, but I don't want to include too many of those in my deck, right? So in the early game, I play my sweet early game dudes, and then I play like my 1 Equalize.
I just don't want this card in my hand
when
at any point.
Out.
Right?
I think it's fine.
At turn 5 or 6, why aren't we just playing War Behemoth or like one of their better draw cards, like Namkhun Warrior or any of those other cards? Like, why are we playing Equalize in our deck? This card just doesn't have a slot. It's just terrible.
He's talking about Faf Odin.
No, he's not.
You can't play it in Faf Odin because if you draw a card from your opponent's deck that costs 5, you can't play it.
Oh, okay. You'd probably just use like Behemoth or Kanekon then.
That's my point, yeah. Like, if we're not playing that in your Odin, like, why don't we just play the cards that are actually good, right? That come with bodies that kill our opponent, as opposed to this card that might draw it to 1/1 from our opponent's deck.
In Arena, though. Not in Constructed, sure. But if you're playing fast Odin in Arena and you want to get like a little more reach and like a little more vigor,
we know this card is going to Hindu.
Unfortunately,
so I'm not even going to talk about the Odin circumstance where it's still bad.
This whole discussion is academic, but...
Alright. Let's move on to Gift of the Nile. An Egyptian spell that gives a friendly unit Afterlife, spawn at 1/1 version of this unit.
So worse Scarab's Blessing?
I'm not sure.
Less mana though.
My question is like, does this 1/1 effects go off? No, they don't, right?
I mean, you don't get the war cry.
The effects would be the same. Not
You
the
won't
war-
get the war cry, but you could stick it on Thoth and her.
Yeah.
You could stick it on Bastet just before trading.
But Scarab's Blessing is 2 mana, right?
I'd say
Yeah.
Bastet is probably one of the only uses, because if you're using this on, you're not going to be killing Thoth at the same time. So if you're using that, it's just going to get silenced along with Thoth's ability, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I like this on Anher though, right?
I mean, what's the benefit to playing this over Scarab's Blessing? We get to save the 1 mana.
Well, the benefit is we get to
and
play
when we
both
lose-
in a deck that wants a lot of this effect, right?
I mean, yeah, okay. If you want to play 4 copies of Scarab's Blessing, then Gift of the Nile will do that for you. But I don't think there's any decks where you want to do that.
No, but we're definitely
could
moving closer to
play-
one that might now.
Like a real token Odin deck, mercenary, maybe even run the what's it called? Decrepit Bowman, the one that spawns another 2
But this is an
Bowmans.
Egyptian card only.
Yeah, but the Bowman's neutral, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the
Bowman's
Bowman is neutral. Sure. Yeah. Oh,
And
so you're
then-
saying mercenary and stuff in Egyptian.
Yeah, and then try and
Okay.
fit Osiris in, so you've got all these cards that are like just
Yeah, okay.
tokens and are dying. And then
Here's my problem with Osiris, right? Even if you get him, so you're not playing him before turn 4,
yeah,
basically at all.
yeah,
And so if you're playing him on turn 4 for 4 mana, then you're better off playing Gladiator.
yeah. Yeah, I
And
think
if you
Osiris
draw
is-
him not in your opening hand, then he's just completely terrible. I don't think Osiris
Yeah.
ever.
I think Osiris needs to be changed to like creatures that have died this turn, like in the game period,
Yeah, and
Like-
have higher starting threshold.
or like or minions that like you control have died this game, right? Only, and then even if it's like 8 mana, like on turn 4, this might be down to 4 if you draw it. My problem with that card is like even if you don't have it in your opener, and if you draw it like later on, like it's cost a huge amount of mana. When it's like I've already had 4 guys die this game, like we're already on like a pretty late turn of the game at this point, right?
Yeah, and 4/4 just won't be impactful enough.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
it's
alright.
such a small body too for that, right?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
that's my problem with the card. He just seems like I
If
feel
it
like
was
that effect
a 6/6
should.
for 9.
Even a 6/6 for 8, like that counted it. Like I'm not sure that's overpowered, really.
A 6/6 for 8 might be too good. A 6/6 for 9 I
Yeah.
think is fine. You have to play dedicated token to make him good. But when he's good, he's actually good. Instead
Yeah,
of
if he
just
was a
being
6/6,
still mediocre.
Just
Even
like
when he's good.
double Osiris Isis.
Yeah.
Add combos.
Especially like when you kill off your Bastet with Gift of the Nile and then Isis the Bastet with the tokens.
Yeah,
And then you get 3 more tokens, plus the tokens die and come back and die. Like, and then you just get like some free 6/6s, right? Like that could be really good. But the problem is, even in Osiris's best case, he's still mediocre.
yeah.
All right, let's go into Power Delve.
I like the name.
The Romance spell. I mean, hoping it's gonna be good, right?
Power
Spell,
Delve
7
Isis
mana.
back, guys.
Discover a unit that costs 7 or more and reduces cost to 0.
I like it. I'm down with this card.
Is this card good enough to be played?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
How many
don't
7
think
cost
so.
cards are there in the game?
It's a good amount.
Like, you're not picking from a very big pool here, right? Which means you're gonna get a good card more often than not, because there are a lot of good 7 cost cards.
yeah, but you might get Osiris.
Yeah, but you don't have to pick
Well,
it. It's
yeah,
a
you
discover.
might pick
It's a
I
discover.
guess my point here is that do we not have enough card cost cards in Rome that are good enough that we
Yeah.
want to be
It
playing
doesn't.
this?
It doesn't have to be in Rome, right? Oh.
The card
Yeah,
is in Rome, so
the
we're
card
looking
is-
at the cards that we could play around it, right? So, in this situation, we already have a 6 mana All Star.
Okay.
We already have like
Hercules.
our Hydras. Well, we have Hercules, we have Terra, we have the Hydra, we have Fire Giant.
We might not have Hydra anymore.
Oh.
Hydra's going down to 6. Hydra's going down to 6.
Difficult to find a
And,
spot for it.
It's
I
losing
mean-
a lot of power as well.
You know
All
what I
right. Well,
mean?
hold on. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's only 10 cards that you can even get.
Okay, how many of those are neutral?
4.
Okay, how many of those would we rather just be playing instead of any of the other cards? So for the consistency.
Basically, just Fire Giant and Learning Hydra. And Learning Hydra's going down to 6, so there's actually only going to be 9 cards. So the
Alright.
only card that we'd rather play over this is Fire Giant, and Fire Giant costs 8, which
Wait,
means
wait,
it's
no. Because I'd rather have like a brute every time, for instance, as opposed to cards that aren't brute that cost 7 sometimes.
I
What
disagree.
about Isis, guys? You could get Isis for 0, meaning the next turn you could play a bunch of minions and then drop Isis.
Right, and this is in Rome too, which means you get the Isis effect in Rome.
I just feel like I'd rather the consistency than like a random. Like we might just get Blade Masters, or we might just get something bad, like Osiris.
Okay,
like,
the worst possible choice would be Osiris, Blade Master, and Brute. That's your worst discover. Oh no, sorry, I lied. Not Brute, Camazotz. It'd be Camazotz, Osiris, and Blade Master. That's your worst discover for this.
The thing is, Rome isn't really needing more endgame.
yeah. I feel like we have enough endgame, right? Between Terras, between Hercules, between
Yeah.
the Hydra
exactly.
we're already playing, between the Fire Giant we're definitely already playing.
What rarity is this at?
Rare.
I'd take this in Arena.
I think anyway.
Yeah, for sure. In
think
Arena
so,
where you
yeah.
want a finisher,
You
for,
get to
for
discover
sure.
a legendary more often than not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree with you. In Arena, this card's probably very good. My point is in Constructed, I just don't feel like we need this in Rome. I feel like we needed something
Yeah.
else for the early game and not this.
We'll see. We'll see in the future what else they
Yeah.
print at 7+.
No,
But I
the more
think
cards that are
getting-
7+ that get good in this game, the better this card gets, obviously, right?
And
Yeah.
since it costs 0, it means you can just chill on your Fire Giant a couple turns, and then just double Fire Giant if you want.
I mean, that requires us to hit the
You
Fire
can play
Giant.
your real Fire Giant plus the fake Fire Giant.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does
Like,
require a whole
if you
dead
take
turn.
2, it does well. Yeah, but if you're
I
ahead
mean-
on board, that's fine, right? Or if your opponent's not pressuring you, that's fine. You're allowed to do that.
yeah, but I mean, most of the time, we're playing these big things to make sure we win the game, not if we're already ahead and winning the game. Then I don't really
Right.
care
I
what my 7
you
drop
can
is.
also, you can also just play it on the turn you play Power Delve, obviously.
Yeah,
But it's an option if you want to
no.
preload.
The thing is,
And
Rome
convers-
is usually on the back foot around 5-6, and that's the kind of time you're trying to get back onto an even footing and move into the aggressive position.
Yeah, I mean this is not really a stabilization card.
Yeah, it's probably too slow for that reason.
Yeah.
Oh, you can also get Cursed Dragon, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, but all right. So if
Especially
we were
when
to
you
take
can
a
move
Roman
dudes
list,
around.
right? What would we cut from the Roman list, and all of the creatures and all that stuff to play this?
To play Power Delve?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take a 1 and 3 on a Cursed Dragon.
What are you
most of the
cutting
time.
from the good cards in Rome already? to
I
play
don't know.
this?
What's the good Rome deck even look like right now? Are you talking about OTK?
No.
Let's be real here.
We're talking about the double Terra, the double, Discord.
I don't know,
kinda
cut
style
some
deck.
neutral minion, whatever.
I'm not buying it. There's no
So wait, we're talking about the OTK deck because in that
No,
case
no,
you
we're
don't
not.
need Power
No,
Delve.
we're
no,
not.
no,
No,
no.
I don't
You're
know
talking
what
about double. You just brought up double Discord, right?
No, Discord.
only
That's
is in
right.
the OTK.
Sorry. Dishonorable.
Oh, I mean, you're playing all of those still.
Yeah, that's my
I don't
point.
actually run
But,
dishonorable.
but Rome even now isn't finding time for Sylvanas because that's too slow.
Yeah,
Even though
this card just
that's
seems not good.
technically
Well,
infinite value.
well,
So I don't see how
part of the
Paradel
reason
is better than.
part of the reason you're not finding time for Sylvanas, I think, is that he doesn't affect the board immediately.
Yeah, and a lot of the times Power Delve won't either.
I disagree. I think a lot of the times Power Delve will affect the board. I think you're very likely to get either Cursed Dragon or Fire Giant.
There's also
or
Artemis,
Ares. There's also Artemis
a lot
and
of,
Ares.
I guess if I
Like,
get us to
affect the
discover,
board
so you get to look
immediately.
at 3, it might be better.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
like-
like you said, the worst case scenario is those 3.
Yeah, the worst case
three
scenario
would be
is
great.
Blade Master, which also has charge, so that
Yeah.
affects the board immediately too. Of the 9 cards that you can get, at least half of them affect the board immediately, which makes it better than Sylvanas. So if you're playing Sylvanas, I would cut Sylvanas for Power Delve.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well,
I don't know.
There you go. There's
maybe
your
it's worth
answer.
testing. Maybe
It's worth. I
testing.
think it's worth testing.
see.
I would definitely pick it in Arena because you can turn
Oh,
a rare into a legendary.
I think in Arena
all
it's
day.
sick. This card is probably really good in Arena. That's
Yeah,
not an
that
argument.
card
I'm just worried about
Cursed
Constructed.
Giant, Isis, Fire Giant, or Cursed Dragon, Isis, Fire Giant. That's amazing.
And it's good because Rome needed buffing in Arena.
Killing me. Murdered. All right. Let's go to recursive vitality. Oh God. All right, guys. For those who don't know, Bologna is one of the best arena decks in the game right now.
Man.
All right. So recursive vitality, Chinese spell, 1 mana, common. Give a god +1/+0. When you play a god, return this card from your graveyard.
I like it.
I like it a lot.
I like it in
It's
spell
pretty
WoW.
Yeah.
Because like not only are you getting the +1/+0, you're also getting the spell triggers,
And
which
there's
is really cool.
There's a lot of gods there too.
Especially in spell WoW, you're playing like almost all gods, except for like your Imperials, right? So you're gonna get this back like 3 times.
Might actually give you a reason to play Niza.
For sure. Yeah. Suddenly she's dealing 6 damage
Yeah.
on her attack as
Yeah.
a 3-mana card.
Yeah.
Super strong.
Now they
And then
seem
you
to
can
be
get back trigger your archers.
adding a lot of Chinese cards that are very strong, and I feel like we already have 2 constructed decks in China that are already very strong top tier. It feels like they're not really caring about when they add cards to decks right now, like the balance for the game.
I think that's okay since they're adding so many cards. I think we want to
Yeah.
like get the
Just-
cards.
just
in
get
the
everything
game
flushed
first.
out?
Just make more cards, as many as possible. Figure out some cool interactions, and then balance from there.
Yeah.
I'm okay with them just like adding a bunch of cards every patch.
Well, I mean, like
Yeah,
I'm
I
down with
agree.
that.
Alposh, for instance, has the least card pool, right? And we're not seeing a single card.
Yeah,
For
you're
him.
right. You're right.
I
I
suspect
would like to
that
see.
these have been designed quite a while before, like patch 0.33. So they didn't know what the meta was going to be. So these cards are ready now, but they'll be working on a bunch of Upwatch cards.
No, I know, but
It'll
like
come in,
but-
yeah.
my point is, like, even before that, he had the least card pool, right? Like we're adding
Like,
cards to
smallest
decks.
Card pool. Right. Okay.
Like
okay.
Odin has like the most card pool.
Right.
And yet we keep seeing more Odin cards. We keep seeing more of these cards for decks that already have like large card pools to build from. Whereas like we're seeing certain decks that don't have card pools. Like Alposh has less cards than Hindu already,
I mean,
right? And
there's
Hindu was just
no-
released.
There's no Odin cards in this patch. Like I know they just did Curse Dragon
Yeah.
and Fafnir, but like
Yeah.
the patch before that, there were no Odin cards, right? Where they introduced the Artemis patch. There was like Bacchus, Daji, Artemis. You know, there were like a bunch of like Chinese cards. But like Inferno came in there too. There were a bunch of Chinese cards. There were a bunch of Greek cards. There were like some Roman cards. Because Roman also got that one like Cost of War or something, or Burden of War. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think Odin got anything there. And Mayan got the Discover card from your graveyard that no one plays.
Well, because you can score
Grave-
3 zombies.
Yeah, so like, well, I know.
3 mana
Trust
for a
me.
zombie sounds good.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know. It's only 1 mana.
I need to play a
But,
zombie.
Oh, were you talking about Gravedigg?
yeah, Gravedigg. It's only
2
1 mana.
mana to get it, and then do you play the zombie for 1? 3 mana for a zombie, right?
Does Gravedigg cost 2? I thought it only cost
Yeah.
1.
Yeah, or are zombies free too? How much does
Zombies aren't free.
No, zombies
cost-
are 1.
Okay, yes.
Gravedigg's
3 mana
2,
for a
yeah.
zombie.
Yeah, so 3
Gravedigg
mana
costs
for a
2.
zombie.
Alright, you're right. 3 mana for a zombie. Sounds bad.
Yeah.
This is why no one plays this card.
Yep.
But, I mean, again, I'm happy they're getting on-theme cards into game, that's all.
Gotcha.
If it's hard for them to come up with on-theme cards for Mayan, like, you know,
Mhm.
they need to work on it. But like
Well-
right now, I just want more cards in the game. I don't really care where they go.
I guess my question was like, should they be holding some of these cards to wait to like make it so that we have a release of like multiple cards to balance out how many cards each class has, or should we just be like you're saying, just jam as many as we can?
Nah, just
'Cause,
jam them. The patches are coming like every week, every other week.
I
it's
feel
fine.
like China just got a lot better, and then China's getting better again.
That's okay.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like we're pushing these classes that are already very good, and we've already seen what happens when you push a class that's like already pretty reasonable. All right,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know
you know,
that was kind of odd.
that's just my feeling on the matter. I just feel like how can China not be played? Like right now, we already see Odin as one of the best classes, right? And then we got 2 more good Odin cards. So now we're gonna see Odin everywhere in like every tournament, and now we're gonna
I
see
mean, we
China
already
in
see
every
Odin
tournament. Yeah, that's my point. Why like it? It seems
Because
weird
they
that
don't-
like
that's what I'm saying, it's
they're
not about
nerfing some classes so hard that already have like no card pool, yet they're just introducing these really strong things and like worsening the problem for those classes.
Well, you say that, but most classes also have 3 legendaries, and Odin didn't until Curse Dragon.
He didn't need them.
Yeah,
Well,
that's kind of my
a different
argument. But
That's a different argument. But if you want to talk about card balance, we want to have the same number of legendaries from every class, right?
well, I mean, they don't really care about that either. Like, there's certain classes that have like 3 rares. There's certain classes that have like 6 epics. Certain classes have more like epics than rares than they already have. Like, I would really care more about just like number of cards to make decisions with. So some of these decks feel different. like it's feeling pretty stale, and then like they're already like buffing these. Like I've already seen too much Beast New. I feel like in ladder.
Well, sure, it feels stale to you because you play 50 hours a week. Come on, you stream every day.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I don't know. All right. So you're just saying get these cards in the game? Does everybody else feel that way?
Dude, get as many cards as you possibly can in the game. As soon as a card finishes getting through testing and development, put it in. I don't care where it goes. Like, get them in the game. I think start developing, an equal number of cards for every class, yeah. But like, if some take longer to develop than others, like, okay, develop them until they're right, and then put them in the game as soon as they're ready, and we can worry about balance later. Like right now, the game's still in beta. Like, we're still pre-season 1. We're like, obviously, there's tournaments and stuff happening with real money on the line that matters, but
you just gotta work around that.
Yeah, it's not like there's competitive seasons that are giving substantial rewards, right? And it's still a level playing field for every person playing the game. And especially these tournaments, since you get to bring 4 decks. It doesn't matter if there's only one OP class because everyone's going to bring that class, and then it's the rest of your decks that you get to customize with. So I don't mind that they're printing more cards for one class or not, especially because so many cards just are completely worthless and constructed that then you can't look at the total number of cards a class has. You have to look at the playable cards a class has.
I think China has enough playable cards.
Sure they do.
I think they can field like 3 different decks without overlapping if they want to, and then now we have some more to help that being good.
Yeah, I mean you could play like a mid-range China with like Hao Yi and like Neja,
Alright.
and you can play your Beast Wall obviously, and you can play your Spell Wall, but like
let's go through these cards.
Sure.
Alright. So where were we? We just went over Power Delve. We've been over Recursive Vitality.
Soulbind, I think we were at.
Yep, alright, Soulbind, the new Hindu card. Spell 2 mana, common. Select 2 units that cost 4 or less. When one dies, the other dies.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes you're gonna wanna like try and protect your pillar by like casting it on your pillar and one of their dudes that's threatening your pillar, so you can be like, if you kill my pillar, your guy dies also. But then you're just 2 for 1 of yourself. And the other problem is like if you cast it on 2 of their dudes, then you still need to kill one of their guys, probably with a spell. And then you're 2 for 2ing over the course of 2 turns, which is not great.
Well, I mean, I feel like you have a lot of recursive stuff, right? So we have stuff that's coming back, like Echo Blast and that kind of stuff. So you're not.
Echo Blast comes back as 1 damage for 3.
Yeah, it's definitely not great, but I mean, I feel like you're not exactly 2 for 2ing yourself most of the time, but maybe you are. I don't know.
I mean, if you can trade with a dude.
I mean, it's definitely not chains, right?
It's definitely not shackle.
Yeah,
for sure, not shackle.
In the patch notes, it's hilarious because everybody was like, "Oh, shackle," and it's honestly, it's a hard for a unit that costs 4 or less situationally.
Yeah, it's certainly not shackle.
All right.
I don't think it's.
I don't think it's that good either.
Yeah, I'm kind of on board with that one.
Especially if that's like your only removal spell in hand, it's actually like doesn't do anything for 2 or 3 turns. Yeah, I don't like it.
All right.
Voice of Eternity.
So do you have anything to say about it?
We should have skipped that one real fast. We were just like, screw that card.
not great, whatever.
I mean, sometimes you hit cards that everybody can agree isn't very good, and then everybody can agree on that and just move on. Voice of Eternity. Spell 1 mana, common, discover a card with Afterlife.
Alright, we'll check out the Afterlife cards to see how that goes.
Probably fine.
Bastet, Circuits.
But you can get cards from other Pantheons too, or no?
I would imagine, yeah. Doesn't say you can't.
I would assume so, but the only card that would fit that criteria is Sylvanas.
Well, I mean, you can get neutrals.
Yeah, you get neutrals too, so which means that, like...
Yeah. I feel Deadeye could be a good pick from it.
That seems pretty reasonable.
Oh yeah, that's really weird. Why do no classes have Afterlife except for Sylvanas and Egypt?
It's just they haven't made a lot of cards with it yet. Reincarnate is mostly a...
Reincarnate is only Hindu.
Yeah.
But that's like Hindu's like class identity.
Well, they
Yeah.
needed something for like Scarab to work with, right? To make it like so you could potentially draw 2 cards, or you could potentially whatever, and for Isis to be like good. Afterlife is really like where you kind of want to be, I think, most of the time. Like was like the idea originally, and then they just haven't made the Afterlife cards to match yet.
So it looks like what we're looking at is like an Egyptian card, a Sylvanas, or Clay Soldier, Nemean Lion, Decrepit Bowman, Departed Warrior, Tomb Warden, and Occult Deadeye.
There are a lot of dead cards in that list.
Yeah.
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 This card might be one of those cards where like it's a plant for later, right? Like where Egypt gets a bunch of Afterlife cards because it's kind of
Yeah.
like an Egyptian theme with all the zombies and the mummies and that kind of stuff going on.
Mhm.
Where we might. And I'm gonna bring up patch notes and bring down media sources. Oh man, sorry about that, guys. We have once again crashed out nicely.
Your CPU is an 8-core? That's cool.
Only 8?
So unfortunately, this has been killing me. Getting this on YouTube is gonna be a little rough for sure.
Should we even?
I don't know if I'm even gonna be able to.
Put it on YouTube?
Well, I was planning on putting all the episodes on YouTube, but at this rate, I don't know if I even can because this one's been so cut up by OBS failing me. An MP4 file save all the audio at the end, so like I lost all the audio from those files. So the only way I can do it now is gonna be pulling it directly from
Twitch VODs.
from Twitch and then cutting it,
Yeah,
which I can do.
right.
It's not too bad, but it is not what I wanted to be doing.
It is gonna be really long though. Like we've already been talking for like 2 hours.
All right. Maybe I'll just get it up there so I can send it to I'll send it to JWoww and see if he approves of our bashing on certain things, and then maybe we can get on the official channel times.
So that's everything then, right?
I think that's all for those cards. We
And
do have
so-
the new holiday
right, so
packs
then
coming out, which are pretty sweet. But I
Sure,
think we want
we
to
got
get
some new
over to this
gauntlets.
this part over here, which is the balance.
I agree.
Are we gonna talk about the gauntlets? Because the gauntlets are pretty interesting.
We can, but I feel like balance goes in hand with adding new cards. So let's
Yeah,
hit
we'll
up
go
balance
back
and we'll
to
go
the
gauntlets
gauntlets.
after.
Oh, sounds good. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. So we're now seeing Ascension. Gods return to your hand. Now cost 1 less. I feel like Ascension is just not a good card. I feel like it gives too much initiative to your opponent consistently. With not that many great comeback mechanics, with the board in this type of game being way more important than a lot of other card games where this effect is desirable. Bouncing everything means your opponent just gets to play more power and toughness onto the board before you do again, which just puts you
Well-
back, I feel like, in the same situation. I've had this card cast against me a lot of times. I've never lost a game to it.
What gods do we have that cost 6 mana?
Athena.
Yeah, but like Athena's not good to play after.
Well, Ascension costs 6, right?
No, Ascension costs 5.
Yeah, it's 5.
Okay, it's 5.
So we can play Nike.
Yeah, then
After
your opponent,
Ascension?
then your opponent gets to play 10 power with the guys, right? And that's only if you have Nike in play before you bounce them all?
Yeah.
The only time I've seen Ascension do well is versus hit, because if
Yeah.
they've exiled stuff, their exiles are likely going to get milled by all the whatever other pillars they have, and your
A lot
minions
of-
are going to stay on the board.
A lot of their resurrect stuff gets milled as well, especially if they have loads of pillar of what are they called? Pillar of just
Pillar-
the hero power.
Yeah, Pillar
Pillar of Healing.
Yeah. Pillar of Lives.
Yeah.
Or Pillar
Yeah.
of Life, sure.
So they get returned to the hand, and then sometimes Carly and Agni will get milled. So it has some playability if you're trying to target Hindu specifically.
I think it's also good
But-
if your opponent has more than 10 mana worth of stuff currently on the board. Because they're not going to be able to refill to where they were. So it gets you ahead in that regard.
Yeah, but most of the time, wouldn't we rather just play like the 4 damage to all non-god cards in that situation? Like, I feel like this card just doesn't compete
Except
with a lot of the
that,
things.
like, that doesn't always do everything you need it to do.
My argument is this doesn't either, because your opponent just gets to go first again after you play this.
Well, except you can play stuff afterwards. Like,
Yeah. I think the one thing with Zeus is there's a lot of war cries and a lot of fairly reactive cards.
Yeah.
So this push, it makes like Thanatos at 3 mana. You've got Nemesis at 1 mana. So that combo now would be 4 mana if you have those two on the board. I could see it being tested. I could see it being tried.
I guess my problem with that would be then all these cards that we've bounced back to reduce their costs of, like, we were probably on the head of the board if we have cards that we like want to be playing into this. And then if we weren't, then we have to wait another turn, let our opponent play all their good stuff, and then play these 2 cards into it. And our opponent has 10 mana worth of good stuff and play again.
We can also just play Ascension and then play Hades. And we don't even need to have Hades on the board the first time, right? So that's going to tax their mana more. If your opponent has more than 10 mana worth of stuff on the board, you're ahead on tempo because of it. And then you can follow that up with your normal Nemesis Thanatos combo, plus attack with your Hades. Like, I think you can do stuff with this card.
I don't know. I feel like
theoretically, Ascension is actually, you look at it and you think, oh, it's great, right? But I've actually tried to use it and it failed me.
It failed you? Yeah, I mean, that's what I feel like. I feel like it's just, there might be a deck later on in the game where, like, reducing the cost of your gods and, like, playing them all again at one time might be really good for you. I just don't think this card is in the prime time. I don't think it has the support it needs. And I think letting your opponent refill their board before you get to refill your board puts you in the same spot as before you cast Ascension, which is why you're casting it.
I think you're looking at that too black and white.
Well, I mean, like, if our opponent is bouncing back, like I said, we have like a Hydra or Fire God, like Fire Giant in play, and our opponent's casting this, like, it seems pretty sweet for us. Like they might live for one more turn, but now we're getting all these good war cries again.
Not really. Look, if all we have is a Hydra and a Fire Giant, and they play Ascension and then play a 5-drop, and then we have to go Hydra, like, and then they can continue with the 5 other cards they have in their hand, like, that's a great stabilization for them. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm not buying it, but all right.
They can block our Hydra with their 5-drop. Oh, well, yeah. They can block our Hydra with their 5-drop, or they can then, like, play their Nemesis Thanatos and, like, kill our Hydra, and then they have board position, and we just have a Fire Giant in hand.
I mean, I think I just rather a card that does 4 damage to all non-gods.
Except that wouldn't kill the Fire Giant or the Hydra.
You're right, but it does win you games in situations where you might be losing, whereas this, I feel like, doesn't actually win you games. All right.
It could be your load rate.
My what?
Let me go see. Let me go look at my OBS. There's a thing I had to fix once.
And we're back.
We're back.
Yep.
It's a little at the bottom right corner. There'll be a little square, and if it's not green, that is the problem.
Mine's green. It's always green.
It's not the problem then.
Turns out.
I kept crashing like that, and that was my problem. So I had to change my refresh rate or something.
Gotcha. Yeah, like I said, I've never had a problem with it. Like, only one other day did I have any problems with the crashes where it did like multiple times, and then every other day it's been fine and smooth. So sorry about that, guys. It's killing me just as much as it's killing you. Trust me.
All right, so Ascension change, not that big of a deal. Moving on.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
I think this is huge.
I think so too. I think this actually makes the card better.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge buff for Rome. I think Rome was really struggling in the early game, and Bacchus coming down on 3. It's just so much better now because Rome already wanted to play Gladiators as a 4-drop. It wanted to play Poisonous Hydra. It possibly wanted to play Agent Outcast. There were so many 4-drops that Bacchus was competing with. Now it's just got Mercury in there. And Rome needs early game. It needs anti-aggro stuff, and Bacchus can do that for it.
Yeah, I think you can do it now. I think you can like skip your 2-drop still, unfortunately. But then on 3 you have like Mercury, Bacchus, Rain of Arrows, and then on 4 you have all those good cards you listed. And that's a pretty solid block of your deck for your early game.
No, I actually think Bacchus as a card is like pretty insane.
Yeah.
So having him come down a turn earlier just feels like crazy to me. I can just see situations where he like picks up Cleave like really early or becomes like a cheap Chow Fang, and like you're basically just throwing the party, or like you're like killing 3 guys off of the Cleave because you just like push him into your opponent because you played him so early they can't stop him. This card just seems nuts now. I don't think it'll make Rome too good because I think Rome needs like a good amount of help, like you were saying. But at this rate, we're getting close.
I think Rome is going to be tier 1 with this change.
You think so?
I really think it's that good.
I could see it. I mean, like I said, I feel like Bacchus was like Uge 2.0. better than Uguay and stronger overweight. I like that card quite a bit. So now he's
It really
cheaper than
makes it
Uguay
work.
too. Just crazy.
Oh, Poisonous Hydra is going to 5 as well, so we don't
Yeah.
actually get that on
Yeah.
All right.
in
Let's-
room.
More agents, yay!
All right. So everybody
Yeah.
agrees Bacchus is going to be like probably a must play to of in everything, including Great and Arena.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually had something I wanted to say on it. A lot of classes best going first, like we were talking about that, right?
Yeah.
Roman could be potentially your go-to going second guy because you load your deck with good 3-cost cards, and then you can answer really well with stuff like Bacchus, Mercury. So because of the lack of good 2-drops and the 2-cost ability, if you make Bologna your go-to going second guy, she could be very good going
Yeah.
second.
I can definitely see like coining out a Bacchus, like controlling the game very easily if our opponent doesn't have a good answer to it. So I mean, I definitely can see where that like Salugi is saying he thinks it's gonna be tier 1 now. Maybe that's maybe that's where we find that deck being tier 1 and great in tournament play. I definitely think this will also increase its ladder potential as well by a good amount. It really shows up a lot of the problems where you can just get steamrolled in the early game, which is where she really has a problem. Her hero power is probably like the strongest in the game once you're actually able to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the thing that I've thought about Bologna since I started playing. The hero power is it's a very tempo-based hero power, but a lot of the cards that Bologna has are control orientated. So there's kind of a clash there, and that's kind of why Bologna hasn't been working. As Bologna gets more good tempo cards like Bacchus, it's just going to get stronger and stronger, and that's why I feel this change is going to push it so far. Bacchus on 3 into Gladiator hero power. That just sounds
really
insane.
good.
Well, I'm already like raging at like the potential of our opponent. Like it's just like playing Bacchus and then like Cupid into Bacchus. Like afterwards, it's just like, oh, stun your guy and now like cleave the guy next to it because we didn't know what I was gonna hit, but I hit cleave.
Yeah.
Like sucks to be you. Like, or you know what I mean? Like, oh, we didn't know what I was gonna have, but now my guy's melee immune.
Wait, I forget the 4th one that Bacchus gets. +1/+1 melee immune cleave.
Protect one. So he's like great against Odin too.
Right.
So this card, I feel like what you hit off of him is pretty important, but I do now feel like this is going to be, like you said, shore up a lot of the problems that class has.
All right, moving on.
Make Blood Bond great again.
Make Blood Bond
again.
Not quite as good as it used to be. Make Blood Bond playable again, really.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yay, more zombies. So, if you Blood Bond your zombie, you at least get to stay on parity with the zombies that you had before, so that's nice.
It's a 5-cost decay now.
No, decay is like super good.
Well,
it kills Hindu cards without them getting their reincarnate effect.
Does Blood Bond not get the reincarnate?
No, they don't get the reincarnate because it changes their minion into a zombie as opposed to killing it and then replacing it with a zombie.
Right.
No,
so
Blood Bond
if
kills
you
it, the decay.
and Blood Bond
if you
kills
Blood
it.
Bond, they get the afterlife.
Right.
Yeah.
And also the reincarnate.
Right.
If you decay, they don't. And also decay doesn't put it in their graveyard either. So when you're playing the Mayan Mirror, if you decay something, they can't get it back with Barter Soul.
Oh, wait. Something I wanted to say about Barter Soul.
Or Ritual
Really
Tribute,
bugging me.
actually.
Go ahead.
Coin. You can get coin off of Barter Soul.
Yep.
I actually like that.
You can get poison off of Barter Soul if you really want to
Yeah.
throw things at a wall.
Yeah, that's the really bad one.
Yeah.
Getting poison back is really bad.
I don't know, like I feel like that card should be like removed from the game after you cast it, as opposed to going back to your graveyard. It like extra affects one extra class that doesn't really need that effect to be happening right now, and it's so random. Like hitting that card versus not hitting that card is the difference between like winning or losing games so often. Ugh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like the biggest F6 moment right there is when you
Yeah.
kill my own minion to put a poison in my hand.
Right, exactly.
Like
The
to get
worst feeling
poison
in this
coin. Like, all right, well, this game's over. I've had that happen. Like you're already so far
Especially-
behind because your opponent played a Hydra, like a poisonous Hydra, against you on turn 4, like on curve, and now like you're like, all right, I have like 4 cards in my graveyard. Let's hope we don't hit poison. Hit poison. F6.
Yep. Game ends.
Yeah, it just feels so bad. That's like one of
Spend 6 mana.
their
It's
best
awful.
like gain card
Not
advantage
to.
type cards. So it feels real bad that you can have a bad outcome There's not many other like cards like that where like you just get bad outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blood Bond
So Blood Bond,
Yeah.
actually
doesn't
playable
suck
now.
anymore.
Yay!
I mean, I'm not sure it's actually that good either. I'm not sure like
I
this
think
is gonna
it's-
make Alposh even playable.
I think the Death from Above change will help a lot too. I think Death from Above,
think
Leave Behind a Zombie is pretty good.
Yeah.
we'll get to it later, but I think the change to Raise the Grave just kind of stops Alposh coming back.
Wait, they changed Raise the Grave too? Alright, hold on. I gotta
Yeah,
get
it's
there.
only +2/+2 instead of +3/+3 now. Honestly, I don't think that's as big of a deal. I think
No,
when
a
you're
lot of,
making
Off-cook decks haven't even been running Raise the Grave. Sorry.
right, no, exactly. I think Corpse Explosion is the new way to go.
I mean, that's what I was advocating, right? That's what I told everybody.
So,
But
with the Blood Bond change and with the Death from Above buff, I think Corpse Explosion is
so
fine to be doing.
so the thing about Alposh that made like this class actually reasonable before was the fact that not even if you cast Raise the Grave, it's the fact that you have the ability to potentially play Raise the Grave.
Yeah.
Your opponent has to
Oh,
deal with
you're
all
right.
those zombies. So now that people are actually cutting Raise the Grave from their deck, like they've made Alposh worse just in general because people are no longer worried about Raise the Grave.
There's no more
So-
fear.
Yeah, there's no more fear, exactly. So the fact that they've like now nerfed Raise the Grave and they've done this thing where they didn't fully restore Blood Bond, like, oh no, my opponent gets to have 2 3/3s after Blood Bonding. Like, wouldn't have been that big of a deal. Just seems like they're just like we saw the buffs right to try to like fix Hindu where they were just like let's make it 8 times better than it needs to be, and now
Yeah.
we're seeing these like fixes for Mayan which aren't going to be enough to make this class playable. You really
I
needed
mean,
to get
we'll
the
see.
2 zombies for Raise the Grave to be good, and now you're not even getting that, and you're getting Raise the Grave is worse.
I'm gonna try it still. I'm gonna go
I'm
back to
going to play with it, sure, but I just don't think it's going to be. I don't know. I'm worried.
I don't think it'll be good enough. No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's joke worthy. I don't know.
I don't know. I think the Death from Above change is really good.
I agree. Death from Above now leaves a zombie, guys. Which Death from Above is the card that drops a zombie on a location and then does 1 damage to everything around it. Which is going to be good against some of those aggressive decks.
So my question is, can you now, before you could play Death from Above where a unit was, can you still do that?
I don't know.
Will the zombie just like kind of move?
I would
to
imagine
the side?
you can't, right? Or
I
maybe
don't
you
know.
can't. Maybe
Like,
it'll pop it next to it.
there are, like if you play Blood Bond on a card like Tomb Warden, they'll get the Tomb Warden on the spot where the old Tomb Warden was, and your Blood Bond zombie will show up next to it. So I imagine that Death from Above is the same way. If you drop Death from Above on a space with a unit and the unit doesn't die, it'll just push the zombie over a little bit to an adjacent space.
I have seen things where like some afterlife effects where like Thanatos, if Thanatos kills somebody with the afterlife, I've noticed that they won't actually apply their afterlife.
Yeah.
Like Sylvanas?
Like Sylvanas, yeah. I think
Sylvanas. Yeah.
Thanatos blocks Sylvanas, yeah.
That's interesting.
So I don't know how Death from Above would work in that regard.
Just
like,
kill
stuff like
one
Bastion.
thing, put a zombie there, and then deal damage to everything else.
Oh yeah, it does block. I would imagine if it worked. I would imagine if you can drop it on top of things, it would work the same way as everything else that happens like that. That being said, I'm not sure you can actually drop it on top of things anymore. So this will be something to test for sure, and then it's going to matter a lot.
Yeah, because if you
but
can
I
like,
think
prevent an afterlife effect by doing pretty good.
I don't think that'll happen, but maybe.
All right, let's go on to
But I think
Calder,
with those 2 buffs,
the #1 Slayer of Gods.
no longer the #1 liver of slaying gods, or living through slaying gods.
Calder, the #1 dead dog now. I don't really know.
Probably. I like this nerf. Scotty was insane.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Strong, yeah.
It's only a slight nerf, but it's important.
Calder being a beast has been relevant for me, even when playing Scotty, which is like kind of amusing.
Were you playing hyenas in your?
No, I was
deck?
playing Arena, and
I think he was like
okay.
a figurative
we
beast.
had Suku.
Oh, Hyena. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Suku.
Suku by
Calder
Suku
was
haste,
good.
which was pretty sweet. So, yeah, I think this is probably a good change, something that should happen. I don't think it's going to be that effective, really, though. I think Scotty's still going to be insane.
I agree, but it's nice to tone it down a little bit. The
I
extra
agree.
points of damage it's a nice
Like,
tone down. I don't think
Changes for something that comes down on 3 can actually be very significant. So this 1 health like nerf could actually be quite serious.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
can
he dies from
affect
arrows now,
games.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very needed nerf. Scardy was too strong, but I think it's done well. But I do think it's quite relevant.
I agree. I just think he's still gonna be powerful though. What do you guys think about also moving Scotty down a toughness?
That might be too much.
She's theoretically 4 mana for a 5/5 currently, correct? Half of that being ranged, and still split pretty well.
Yeah.
So, I would say that Scotty, it's tough.
It is tough. It is tough.
Those stats, right?
It would probably be fine as a 2/2.
Yeah,
I'm just questioning. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah. It would probably be fine.
I feel like she's very good. I feel like she's still gonna be very good. I think Calder going down is gonna be very relevant. I agree with you on that. But I feel like a lot of the time with Odin is the problem is that you just can't kill enough of their units when they start swarming. Like even if you have units in play that are surviving these attacks and that kind of stuff, a lot of times it's just like I don't have enough units to attack their 6 tokens to death before I die.
I wonder if we move Scotty to rare if we change her to a 2/2.
I mean, I don't think that should really affect the rarity.
Yeah, it doesn't really. That's not a huge.
I don't think it's really something. I mean, I guess for as far as like arena, it might make a difference, but I don't think that's a big enough change.
NJ Bear, I don't think it'll kill her. I just think that you need to play more defensively with her. That's all.
All right, let's move on to our favorite Hydra.
Safe Hand of the Gods. I think this might be on YouTube. It's gonna be really long though because we're already at like over 2 hours, and with all the OBS crashes, it's gonna be a mess to edit together.
Yeah.
So
I might put it as 3 videos in one set or something, and figure it out. And next time we'll not crash, and it'll be easy to put on YouTube.
This one might be on YouTube. The next one will be.
All right,
so
guys.
yeah, Hydra.
Lyrian Hydra is now moving to 6 mana as a 5/5. Heals to full at end of turn. Whenever this unit deals damage, it gains +1/+0.
Well,
this definitely doesn't have the same sticking power it used to, and definitely isn't as good in Raw and in the decks that heal it as it used to be.
And now you don't have to.
I don't know.
That you have a silence in your hand.
It would now trigger Raw every turn if it takes damage,
exactly.
which is kind of cool.
So it triggers Thoth, it triggers Sacred Warrior. I think it's actually better in Raw now than it was before.
If you can get it to stick through the first turn, yeah.
But yeah, you have to be kind of ahead on board.
Yeah. I feel like that was like the big thing about Hydra before is you could just like play it no matter what, basically.
Even if you're behind.
And it was just like it's gonna eat a bunch of things. And if you run it at your opponent's core, it'll kill them like over a turn of 3 turns almost every time.
Yeah.
Can't do that anymore.
Yeah. The damage.
So this is what Hydra's 3rd nerf, and it's still playable?
It's still gonna be playable, yeah. The card will still be good. It's just how good is really gonna be the question. Like 6 mana for a 5/5 isn't exactly premium.
Yeah.
That being said, its effect is still pretty nasty.
It's I think it'll do really well with health buffs. So you can play it in Zeus and like double its health, and then I think it's amazing. You can play it in Ra and play Geb on it, and then I think it's amazing.
Could be good in Odin with Charge with Runestone of Iron.
Yeah, really good with Runestone of Iron.
I feel like everything's good with Runestone of Iron.
But yeah, you're right. But this is also gonna be really good with Runestone of Iron since it gets to heal right up immediately. You get that effect that you're paying mana for immediately, and a lot of other classes won't get that.
I think this is going to be nuts in control, Odin, because you want to play this when you're ahead on board. By turn 6, with like mid-range control-ish type Odin decks, you're usually ahead on board. So if you play this, your opponent has to have an answer. Otherwise, you're just going to keep trading off everything that they play. I think.
Yep.
I thought this is also a buff to Beast Nua. Just because it costs 6 mana now.
Yeah.
like honestly, just a reduction. Like it's a big beast that survives a lot of garbage still, and it just costs 1 less mana now.
I buy it.
Yeah, I think like this is going to be a tier like a card still, right? Like it's gonna
Yeah.
be up there pretty good. I don't
I'm
think
not
anybody
even
should
sure
feel bad about.
I'd call it a nerf.
Yeah, it's just different now.
Just a redesign.
Yeah.
But it's still
A
a
healthy
high
redesign, I
power.
would say, because classes had like.
Oh no, Rick, I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
I couldn't-
You're like
we
cutting in
can't
and out.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
All right, you're
You
good.
guys-
Sure.
I feel like it's a healthy redesign, just because a lot of classes didn't really have a way to deal with the Hydra as it was. Like you have to have a silence or straight up lose, right?
Yeah.
Well, or decay or execute.
Or
Yeah, blood
a
bond.
removal in general. Like you always had to have one in hand, and if you did not, it was just really crappy to try and deal with.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
as
no.
Odin, you can just run a bunch of 1/1s in as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think this change is good for the game. I think
I just
this
realized
is a better spot.
you can't Crescent Blade your own Hydra to play around Kali anymore.
Ah ha ha ha!
Buff to Hindu.
Hindu strikes again. OP classes. Time to remove it from the game.
Speaking of Hindu and how OP it is, let's move on to Pillar of Fortitude.
Cost increase from 2 to 3. Health increase from 3 to 4.
I think it's a nerf.
I think it's a
Okay.
nerf.
I think it's a buff.
Oh no!
I argued
wait.
that originally, but I do think that it coming down a turn later makes it like more awkward to play your pillars after it, or to play a good 3-drop after it. That being said, you might be right about it. It just doesn't matter if you have board control or not, especially if it has more health.
One of the really impressive things about Pillar of Fortitude was if you're on the play, you can play it your turn 1,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
like it's impossible to
There's-
deal with.
There's definitely a playstyle with Hindu that sometimes your draws just dictate you go, Pillar of Fortitude, Vimana, Agni, and win the game from there.
Oh man, this lives through like Magma Slam now.
Yeah.
Oh
so
man,
it's-
yeah, no.
So if
Yeah,
you go
maybe
into
this
the late game,
is a buff.
which most games are going to go into the late game if you're playing Hindu, you're more concerned with having healthier units.
You're right.
So, yeah, I think this is a buff.
Yeah, you might be right. God, that's what I thought originally too, and I was like, please tell me it's not. And then I was convinced
So-
otherwise, but now I'm reconvinced that it is indeed a buff.
So now, it basically we're buffing Hindu's late game to take away some of their insane early game power. That's the trade-off here, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I do
So-
like that.
I think that's a better direction to move in from where Hindu is currently, because
Did they remove the bind
If-
from Pillar of Earth?
no.
No.
Doesn't matter then.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a difference. That's great. This card will be good in time.
Pillar of Fortitude or Pillar of Patience. I guess we'll just move on then. Pillar of Patience, health is being reduced from 7 to 5.
This is
You saw that.
definitely a nerf.
It's a straight nerf. I don't know if it's enough.
I don't know if you
Especially
blade it
because
now.
that's
It lives through Cali.
That is now all of the Hindu nerfs. No, it
I
doesn't.
mean, Asian.
If you blade it,
Oh, if you how are you gonna blade your own Pillar of Patience?
our second Echo Blast.
What? Ridiculous. Especially because Cali costs 7 mana while Pillar of Patience doesn't play. Like, alright, fine. You play your 3/3 for 7. Let him do it.
I mean, I feel like they're like tweaking the health as opposed to just addressing the problems with these cards.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
Pillar of Patience
that's what they're doing.
is a straight nerf, right? All right, at 5 health, it's still a problem. The fact that it increases all of your answers to this card's cost by 1 mana as well is ridiculous. And then on top of that, it's now still gaining your opponent card advantage. Like this card could do one or the other, and it would still be a good card. The fact that it does
Yeah.
both is insane.
Yeah, when I saw it at first, no way. That doesn't do.
So I don't know. I feel like they need to start addressing some of like the effects of these cards as opposed to just trying to like recost them or re-health them. Like we saw the same thing once again with like Aspect of Life, where I think that card is still insanely too good. And it was just like until they change how the mechanic functions, this card is going to be either too good or completely unplayable. Well, they'll cost it like
Well-
8 mana, and then maybe it's still playable.
Well, the thing is, at this point in the stage of the game, I think rather than taking cards back to the drawing board to redesign them, they're just gonna like mess with the cost a little bit and just keep using their like designing time on just making new cards.
Well, yeah, but there's been like
And-
easy fixes suggested. Like for instance, when you bounce the card, its cost doesn't reduce to 0 still, which I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
would have just been like an easy enough change. That I think the card is still probably too good, but is at least better.
Yeah, I agree. That's an easy change to make. But in the case of something like Pillar of Patience, I think instead of spending design time reworking that card, they're just going to release new cards. Which,
Yeah,
like, I don't
my-
I don't hate.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like this is an oppressive game style where it's a turnoff to new players playing the game, so they need to address those kind of things for this game to
Pillar
grow.
of Patience is just a frustrating card to play against. You don't get to play any of the cards
Like the whole
that you
Hindu,
want to play.
yeah, I agree with you. Like, the whole Hindu deck was like designed to just be player frustration, and the fact
Yeah.
that like they won't just remove some of this frustration when it's overpowered is just ridiculous to me.
You need
Like
to find your
I
center.
was for sure that was gonna get a hot pick.
I thought it would be too, but it's kind of like as a new player, like I was saying, if you come on in and you're playing the game and you just get wrecked by you're not able to move your units, you're not able to cast any of your
Are you guys
spells, you're not able
streaming
to do
or
much.
on Discord?
It'd be kind of terrible. You know what I mean? It just feels like it would feel like
Yeah.
why keep this going? Like I kind of don't
Alright.
like the gimmicky pillar
Let's
situation
move
anyway.
away from the Hindu frustration.
I think the one thing to add is just that that's the extent of the Hindu nerfs,
Yeah,
which to me is
there needs to be more,
baffling.
but
Yeah, that's what I'm
Like,
saying.
Agni,
Like what?
Agni is still one of the strongest cards in the game. Kali is still one of the strongest cards in the game. They've like Pillar of Earth still one of the best anti-aggro tools in the game. I don't
Yeah.
believe that this is all that they've done.
I remember when they added that 1 damage root to Pillar of Earth, and I was just thinking to myself, "What are you doing? This is insanely good now."
Yeah.
It's just, ugh, not a
alright,
fan.
we all agree the Hindu is still too good and it's still frustrating. But
Well,
these
it's not-
words have all been said millions of times.
I mean, it's a talk show. We're getting
Yeah.
to see these nerfs for the first time. We feel like there aren't
I'm
enough.
just saying, I'm
I
really
just think we're
surprised
already-
Agni didn't get touched.
Yeah.
Like, even if the
Agni
card
definitely
text
needed it.
stayed the same, the fact that it's a ranged unit, the fact that it's got 2/4 stats, which are pretty decent, the cards. I wouldn't mind if Agni had the same card text and was just made a 1/3 or a 1/2. Something
Yeah,
like that.
the fact that it's huge, and then you also sometimes like it comes into play with like, your pillars buffing it. So
Yeah.
you can't just throw it out of whack with the rest of what's balanced. And the fact that you can also get your best reincarnate effect off of Aspect of Life on the cheap over and over again is kind of
Yeah.
insane too. I feel like if they were to touch the reincarnate and just make it 1 damage and then 1 damage again, we might be alright.
Yeah,
I
reasonable.
don't know. I feel like it definitely needs something done though. Alright. Yeah, I'm baffled that they didn't
Keep
change
waiting
more.
for Salugi's face to move.
It's definitely not going to do that.
Alright, let's go on to Poisonous Hydra. Cost
Alright,
increase
well-
from 4 to 5, attack increase from 4 to 5.
Yeah, now it's a 5/4 for 5. Just as easy to kill, takes longer to cast. This is actually, I think, a really big nerf.
Yeah.
Because being able to cast a 3-drop and get rid of the poisonous on your turn 5 is a lot different from having to cast the poisonous and only being able to use your hero power. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't have that many 2-drops in their deck, so when you cast this on 4, it takes basically their whole turn. But when you cast this on 5, they can actually do things. Like
Yeah.
Elder Harpy and Poisonous is not a bad turn.
I mean, that being said, I feel like Poisonous Hydra is still good.
Sure.
Right? Like, I mean, I think this card is probably still like an include in most decks. Like, where wouldn't we play this now that they've changed it?
I don't know. I probably wouldn't play it in Rome anymore. Probably
Yeah.
wouldn't play it in Chinese anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't play it in Spellwa. I would play it in Beastwa still,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Beastwar definitely.
but not in Spellwa anymore, for sure. I don't think I'm playing this in Greek anymore. Actually, I don't think I was.
wasn't
I wasn't
playing
playing in
it
Greek
I wasn't
anyway.
playing Greek
yeah.
anyway, so
You're right.
I don't know.
But before it was like almost an auto include, and now it's not going to be.
Yeah, it was just oppressive before, and
Yeah, it was.
with it coming
I think this
down
is a
on
good nerf.
4, most of the time you don't play the poisonous card on 4, otherwise you fall way too far behind on tempo. So
Right,
it's
which means
just
you're
4
taking
damage to face.
Mhm.
Now you actually have some counterplay because there's a lot of good 3-drops that can combo with the poisonous cards. So yeah, I think this is a good nerf.
I agree.
it also takes it off of 4 cost, giving you more 4. So while it is a nerf, it's gonna help deck diversity in general.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think that the 4-drop is pretty overclogged right now with just great cards. And unfortunately, we have cards like Gladiator. It's like the top of the rung, which keep getting played in this. So now you might actually see another 4-drop played right alongside Gladiator that isn't just
Or
Poisonous
agents.
Hydra.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. That's a good point. And this next card is now a 4-drop, which has now been made a little bit of space. Runestone of Ire increased cost to 4. How do you guys feel about this? And do you guys think this is the right way about dealing with this card?
I think the design is horrible. I think it
Yeah.
shouldn't exist in the game. I think it needs a
Yeah.
complete redesign.
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of my effect. That's why I was asking you guys.
Right.
I think this card, even at 4 mana, it still does like this really oppressive thing where like you get a little bit ahead and then like you just stay ahead forever.
Yeah.
Until it's dealt with. What
It's
do you guys think
impossible to fight
about
against.
making it like charges or something like that? Like something really easy where it's just like for the next, or like for the first menu you play every turn, or just something
Even
different.
the first menu you play return is
Might be
probably
too good.
strong still.
Yeah.
I think if Runestone of Ire had like 2 or 3 charges on it, so you can only use it for 2 or 3 dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. If it
I think
took
that would
1
be fine.
damage each time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like if it took a damage every time you played a dude,
Yeah.
that would be a nice way to do it. The only thing I would worry about then is like I don't think it should count your hero power.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. Right? We'd make
But-
it not count.
So when you play a card,
Yeah, when you play a unit, that unit gets charged and Runestone of Ire takes 1 damage.
yeah.
I think that'd be good.
But I still just don't like the whole design of giving charge to units. There's going to be something along the line that comes along, and it's just going to be broken. It might not be there now, but
Well, I mean, there's also Odin just has charge, right? They can just give
Yeah,
a,
yeah.
a, charge whenever
That's
they
a lot
want.
different
so, like,
though.
It is. No. Obviously, it's much less powerful. But if we're just talking about things that are going to be broken, like when you can give something charge, like Odin's going to be able to do that anyway. So it's
Mhm.
not that part of Runestone of Ire. I don't think we need to worry about too much.
No, I mean I'm kind of with Salugi though. I've talked about this before about making sure that you leave design space for things to exist in. Like right now, for instance, like my argument was Aspect of Life doesn't leave design space for cards that have good battle cries in neutral or Hindu ever again, because the fact that you
Yeah.
could just play them like 6 times in a row because of the fact you can bounce token really ruins
that,
anything
that
they want to
hasn't
place
stopped
there.
them so far.
I mean,
No, it hasn't stopped so
it
far.
will eventually though, right? But my point is that like
You would hope.
it ruins these kind of like the design areas where they could do cool things. Like
Yeah.
like almost Fafnir, right, was kind of a problem. People were thinking like if you play Runestone with Fafnir, this might just be way too good. Once we start seeing things like I know like Fire Giant with Runestone of Ire is pretty abusive. But cards like that, for
Yeah.
instance.
Well, now that Fire Giant doesn't have Cleave anymore, it's not quite as crazy.
Yeah.
But War Behemoth, or not War Behemoth, sorry, Bull Demon King with Runestone of Ire is
Mhm.
still pretty good. Not that you ever see anyone play that, but
But no, I agree. It definitely
Yeah.
there's definitely cards in the neutral classes, for instance, that like everybody might lose out on because it's just too good with Runestone of Ire. So I'm with you. All right, I think that's enough about Runestone of Ire, the card that has bothered everybody forever. Let's go on to Raise the Grave.
the nerf stick.
I feel like this is just unnecessary. Like, what are they doing? We've already seen how
Yeah.
bad Maya is. Why are we still like beating on it?
Yeah, I don't understand why mine needed a nerf. That doesn't really make sense to me.
Like, I feel like this is like the community being really salty. They lost to some zombies at some point, so they like just keep harping on it.
Yeah, I don't understand it at all. And now zombies die to Magma Slam, they die to Focus Blast, Gift Immunin.
Yeah, I mean, they die like
It's-
everything.
Yeah,
I think
it kind of makes the card pointless.
right, like most people are already cutting it because of how Blood Bond doesn't give you 2 zombies anymore, which is the only reason this card was really good to start with.
Yeah, but we're getting zombies back now.
No, we're only getting 1 zombie back, not 2.
Right, but we're also getting zombies from Death Throne above. So like, we have more cards that generate zombies.
I mean, yeah, but the point. So the reason that this card was so good was that you'd play a zombie on turn 2, you'd Blood Bond on turn 3,
And you still have 2 zombies, and then turn 4 you can.
and then turn 4 you
Raise the Grave.
have this, which is great. Now that like that's not there anymore, like there's no reason to touch Raise the Grave.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only about that combo though.
You're
like
right.
there was also the blight into Raise the Grave, which also doesn't
But
exist
that's-
anymore, which is
Yeah.
another reason not to nerf it.
Yeah, like,
I mean, no, I agree. I'm not saying it should be nerfed for sure, but like,
I suspect this is like a precursor to some Mayan buffs in next patch, and it's just come now instead of next patch for some reason.
that's the only thing I can think that would
that's
make
so
sense.
strange.
Yeah,
I mean, well, like I said, we're not waiting to balance out things. We're really just pushing cards, right? That's what you
Well,
said.
except these are all balance changes.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, if
These are not
the
pushing
balance
on new
change is
cards. These
done, just
are
go.
actually.
yeah, I don't understand it.
I don't get it either. Moving on.
Yeah, mine's dead. They're trying to keep
Tusky.
it dead. Tusky, let's go
Well,
on.
Mine's always been dead, right? That's the whole theme.
No, Al Posh was alive and ready. He made you dead. That was his theme.
Making jokes, not.
All right, Tusky, attack reduced from 4 to 3.
Seems good.
I think this
I'm
is
down with
fine.
it.
I
like
couldn't.
it.
I couldn't believe he was a 4-2 that stunned something
Yeah.
randomly. Like he basically had pseudo charge, right? Because most of the time, like the first turn you're doing is moving them to your opponent's side of the board. He
Right,
does that
he
for
goes
you
to
now.
Yeah. And there was actually a bug where you could play Tusky and attack with it the same turn anyway.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad bug.
For a while. I don't know what triggered the bug or like when it worked or how it worked, but there were definitely times when I played Tusky and then could attack with it the same turn. I couldn't move it, but I could attack with it. And there were times when my opponent played Tusky and then like stunned a guy and traded into another guy. And I was like, what? How? Excuse me?
Yeah, I remember when you first said that, and then like we were able to reproduce it a couple times.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what triggered the bug or like why it happened, but it definitely happened for a while.
It has to do.
And
I think
it wasn't even every time, which is why it was weird. But
yeah,
I don't know.
it was something we tried not to publicize because I'm not sure what their policy is on like
I think
popularizing
it's
bugs.
fixed now.
So I'm hoping it's
But-
fixed. I haven't tested it, but yeah,
I haven't
it's pretty
tested it
bad.
either. I don't see it in the bug fixes for this patch.
It might
I
be
do
hot
see-
fixed.
I think it got hot fixed because I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah.
But I think the nerf is very good here.
Yeah, so do I. It was extremely necessary as well. Tusky
Mhm.
was way too good.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
I
and
think
his
I think
stats
I'd
were.
still see play as a 2-2.
Yeah, there's a good chance, right?
Yeah.
I think you probably could be right there. I mean, like a comparison is like, what is a stun worth, right?
Or like a 3-1. I would play it as a 3-1 for sure.
Yeah,
All right. So we all agree that the Tusky nerf is a good thing, but maybe not far enough.
I think it's
I think it's okay.
I think it's fine. I think it's far enough. I think it's fine to leave Tusky as a good card, and this leaves Tusky as a good card. It's just that before it was an amazing card, and that was maybe too much. But I think this nerf is probably enough for now.
Yeah. We'll see if China gets any good Beast Nuwa cards to go with it. Let's go to Ymir.
Sure,
Reduce the health from 6 to 5.
seems fine.
Yeah, I think this is
Yeah.
fine. I think it's kind of in
No,
order
it-
with everything else they're reducing the health on, right? Like we've seen Kabrakan's health hit even when people weren't playing it. We're seeing Ymir's life hit even when people aren't really playing it. I think it's good. I think it's a good change. Some of these minions just stick around for too long and are kind of interesting to interact with.
Ymir's,
There-
yeah, one of the more frustrating cards to go up against because there's no damage back. It stuns you as you attack, so you can't get damage back. I
Yeah,
find
he-
it very irritating to play against, so making it a bit weaker. I quite like the change.
I think so
WreckNFeed,
too.
are you still there, man? I haven't heard you in like a while.
I muted for a bit because I had a lot of background now.
Oh, okay, all right,
We're all good now.
cool. So there is actually one more buff on this list. That's a secret. It's not there. It's actually at the bottom of the bug fixes. It says Siege Master can now only target enemy structures with his Warcry.
Yes.
So I actually had a really horrific problem with Siege Master recently. I was playing against Unscathed, and it cost me the game where I cast my Siege Master to kill the cannon, and
Mhm.
I couldn't target his cannon.
What?
Really?
Yeah, his cannon was magic immune at the time, but that shouldn't have affected the Warcry.
I
Wait,
noticed that
is-
spell
is-
mute
is-
has sometimes stopped working.
So I'm not sure what the problem with that is, but it cost me the game because it made it so I could no longer cast my 3 dishonorables that were in hand profitably because that cannon was really the problem that was making it so he had enough units to prevent me from getting value from it. So that was
That's
like
pretty
it was
crazy.
really pretty nasty. I cast it like my Siege Master in draft against his cannon and like nope. So lost on the spot for that. So be aware that's a bug that can happen. I'm not really sure what happens or why. WreckNFeed says he thinks it does have something to do with the fact that it was magic immune and that's been stopping some random war cries for some reason. But war cries shouldn't be stopped by magic immunity, at least not right now. That's not how they've had it set up to do so.
Yeah, for sure.
Most war cries aren't, but Siege Master, I think I have that same situation where Spell Immune would stop the Siege Master from killing a structure.
What? All right. Well, that's that then. Just real quick, guys. Have you noticed when you mouse over cards in your collection, they have like an experience bar?
They removed that
Yeah.
finally, I think.
Yes.
No, it's still here.
Okay, yeah, they've commented on that. They said it was going to be a thing where they were thinking about like, making the cards level up and get better or like more whatever, but they've decided to
Okay.
trash that original idea. So right now they actually do nothing. They didn't
I
have
was
any
wondering. I was
plans
gonna
for it.
ask.
It was potentially something that they might bring back for it to do something, but as of now, like they were thinking about having your cards level up and get better as it was going on.
Has anybody actually leveled up a card? Because it's
No.
like extremely difficult.
I think I'm
No,
pretty close
you
on
can
some of the
play it
Alposh cards
so
actually,
much.
but I
Probably
haven't.
Suku. You must be
I haven't
close on
noticed.
Suku.
No, I don't win Sugu.
See, Gladiator right, is the only thing.
Gladiator,
Gladiator
maybe.
and Elder Harpy are like gonna be your top two, right?
All right. So WreckNFeed did want to hit these cool new gauntlets. Now I'm going to be honest with you guys. I unfortunately have not gotten to play as much gauntlets as I would like to have. I really liked the idea when it came out, but my problem is when I'm playing, a lot of times I'm streaming, and these queues have been too long for me to effectively stream them. Because sometimes it's been like 10-minute queues, and I'm not going to sit there and have everybody wait, for me to play 8 games for 80 minutes.
Mhm. Yeah.
So let's go over these queues. These new gauntlets, and see what you guys think. Weekly Gauntlet 1, Time Shift. Players' turns last 30 seconds.
Oh yes.
I'm down for this one. This one sounds so good.
So
Yeah.
fun.
I like this idea
Yeah,
of just
bored.
like cutting turns down in time. I think they've been too long. I was happy when they cut them from 80 to 70 or whatever it was, and I'll be happy if they cut them down again.
Nosdormu was like my favorite card, and I missed Chronos because I had a little thing. But I think the card's gonna be terrible, but I'm still gonna play the crap out of that card.
It's funny. That's kind of what we all settled on. Like, this card might not be that good, but
Oh.
in Arena we can abuse plaid players.
Pretty much.
Maybe that's the combo. Ascension, then Chronos.
Ooh.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we make Ascension good.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure I can
What's going on?
I can come up with 10 mana of cards in about 20 seconds to play. Oh, you bounced all my good ones. Here's all my good ones.
Exactly in the right places.
Oh,
I
man.
think that's good. I
That's
think
pretty
good.
funny. All right.
All right.
So,
Next gauntlet.
Gauntlet 2, the Colossal. Decks can only include cards that cost 5 or more. Players start with 5 mana. All right, good. I read that first part and was really hoping they were going to start with 5 mana. So what do you?
Actually, Ascension.
this.
Ascension will be good in that one, I bet.
Ascension's so much better here.
It kind of is actually, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I think this is really an interesting one. Unfortunately, I think this is going to be one of the ones that like takes the least amount of skill to win, or lose,
Poisonous Hydra.
because you're just going to lose to like your opponent playing these big drops that you have no real answers to because you just didn't draw well. I feel like this is going to be like a really
Medusa.
draw dependent one.
Medusa's gonna be sweet.
Oh, because like there's not enough cards, and you're
Yeah,
gonna
there's
be
not that
playing
many
most
gods.
vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be
awesome.
everyone trying to play turn 1 Poisonous Hydra.
What do you mean? We're all playing Burn, right, with Inferno? We're just going to play double Inferno,
Inferno.
like Guan Yu, and
Ooh.
just stop everybody from doing anything for the rest of the game.
16 damage of Inferno.
Start at 5 mana, right? We also have Dragon King. We're going for another 6 there.
Uh,
Our opponent's almost dead.
22 damage in your deck. So how are we gonna get through our whole deck? We're gonna play double War Behemoth.
We might as well. We start at 5 mana.
Nacon Warrior's not very good here, I
No.
don't think. So it's really just double War Behemoth to get through your deck, right?
I mean,
yeah.
we don't have Emperor's Prize or any of the cool cards that would draw us a lot of cards, so yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah, just that.
Where's our sprint when we need it?
Do we actually need draw that badly though?
Well, if you want to get to both of your Infernos and your Dragon King, yeah, probably. If that's your plan.
I think this deck is
That
going to be
that wouldn't
terrible.
too bad. You
but-
wouldn't need draw at all.
Alright, let's go on to the next one.
Moving on. So those are the 2 weekday gauntlets, and the weekend gauntlets. First one is sharing is caring.
Carrying. Players
Players
draw cards.
for their opponent's deck. So make the worst deck you possibly can.
Upwash.
Decks must include at least 15 unit cards. I kind of like this one where you're just like playing your opponent's deck.
Yeah, so do I.
Gravedig.
This for nothing else will be at least a really fun format where you're just like playing the worst cards possible, and we get to see like games where Hive is coming into play and like
Guys, play
somebody
Bologna,
is using
your
it for
opponent
something.
Plays your Hive, you win. You're good.
Well,
Oh man, Hive counts as a unit too.
probably. So I think this will be fun.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play this
And-
for sure. And really hopefully terror my opponents with some real awful draws.
And then we've got the Highlander gauntlet.
Well, I mean, you know, Calder, the #1 killer of gods, is definitely going to be in decks like this by himself.
Yep.
By himself.
Alright. We can Gauntlet 2, the Highlander. Players can only have 1 copy per card in their deck. I'm not really like super
Yeah, not too right.
excited about this one. It's kind of lame, and this is once again one of those things where like you're going to be kind of shooting a bunch of classes that have the best effects multiple times, and probably have larger card pools. Yeah, I don't know.
Games-
Push is going to be really terrible there, because basically...
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not
How do you
excited about this
even
one.
How do you even build a Highlander Upwash deck?
You don't.
I don't think you
One
do.
of each of everything.
Just all neutral cards?
It's like a bunch of neutral cards for sure.
Yeah, but like, why would you play Upwash?
Yeah.
Because you can raise the grave.
Oh wait.
Duh. Because you have a bunch of cards that do the same thing, like Sever plus Blood Bond plus. I don't know. You probably wouldn't. It's probably bad.
So
Alright.
what is the Pantheon of play for Highlander? Do you think?
Odin.
Odin.
It's always
Everything.
Odin. Always Odin for everything.
I've won like 2 or 3 different gauntlets with the same Odin deck.
Yeah. So I'm super surprised because like we can just play a bunch of like the really cheap, great cost minions in Odin as one ofs, and then play the other version of it in Odin as a one of. It'll be fine.
I think Bologna could be pretty strong as well.
It's true, but my problem with Bologna is that you have to play against a lot of Odin decks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's a pretty big deal for
if you
Bologna.
don't
only
get random
one
arrows, it's a problem. Like I tried some of these gauntlets running as Bologna, and like my problem is I just ran into like Odin a lot of times, and I don't think.
Well, we have Bacchus on 3 now as well. So you
Yeah.
can play like
Yeah.
Bacchus,
One
Mercury,
Bacchus.
Rain of Arrows.
But
I
it was
know.
pretty miserable when you didn't draw
But you
Rain of
got, like,
Arrows.
You have to play like your Shackle, Bacchus, Rain of Arrows, Mercury, and then you also have to play like White Tiger. You can probably play Nemean Lion actually. I think Nemean Lion is actually really good against it.
Yeah, for sure.
So
But I don't
think
know.
there's like
Odin's
some things you
probably
could
good.
do.
I just feel like Odin is so consistent because of its hero power.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
yeah.
And all of these gauntlets that like playing anything that doesn't give you like a direct board impact immediately, and then like trying to answer that all those direct impacts, right? Like you're trying like you can play for instance like Ra, but you have to like hit those cap brace, you have to hit those random arrows, like those kind of cards, unfortunately, to really stay in the game. Which is why I think Odin is just like one of the best gauntlet decks, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true. Apart from sharing is carrying.
But you don't want that, yeah. No,
Oh.
we want a hero power that like is like click 2, spend 2 mana, kill yourself.
What?
Well, to be fair, even if you're playing,
you
carrying
get-
have
You can build a Zeus deck with no gods in it. Ooh,
Oh,
that's kind of
Wait.
juicy.
Wait.
no, you'll
You're
still be
playing
the
Zeus
same.
and your opponent plays your deck.
Yeah.
yeah,
So-
Zeus would probably be bad.
Zeus is the worst.
Oh, your opponent just plays
You
your
need
deck.
to hope your opponent gives you gods. Yeah,
Oh,
you don't pick your opponent.
So the
flat,
best classes to play is still Odin.
Still Odin.
Why? Because
then-
1/1s are better than 0/1s that do nothing.
Wait, isn't the best class to play Bologna? Because then you get Bologna's hero power without having her.
No, because your opponent's gonna kill you with 1/1s.
Play Bologna, load your deck with like useless mobility
Yeah.
But if you just play Odin and then load your deck with 7-cost stuff,
Oh right, it's basically impossible for your opponent
Oh
to win
yeah.
because you'll never be able to play.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
you can play
exactly.
Fenrir. Oh no, it doesn't
Fenrir?
work. They weren't. They're just drawing from your deck. They can still
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
play those cards.
Yeah, no, you just play.
I was just
you
thinking
play
Fenrir
Odin,
like plus
and you
like
don't
a bunch
put
of 7
anything
cost
that costs
cards.
less than 6 in the entire deck. And by the time they get to actually play a card, you have 6 dudes on their Nexus.
Well, that was my
And
point
they
about
just
how
can't.
good that hero power is, right? That's why you just want to
Yeah.
play Odin all the time.
yeah.
I hate Odin. I actually enjoy playing some of the Odin decks, but it does come to a point where I feel like Odin really hasn't changed at all.
Oh, you know what would be another good thing? You could play Ganesha. Give only structures in your deck, nothing that deals damage.
They'll win. They'll just fatigue their opponent to death with their 82 Hail Peelers. No, I'm joking.
I mean, I guess they'd be able to. You might be able to stall long enough though with like healing totems and stuff because they got to run over and kill the healing totems.
Well, yeah, because your opponent
Yeah.
wouldn't get healing totems.
Yeah, but they'd play Odin and still just run.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think probably playing Odin and just filling your deck with 7 draws is going to be the way to go.
More than likely.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about this sweet holiday pack?
I like it less than the Halloween pack.
Really?
Because now, well, yeah, because now there's 2 avatars, or 2 little frickin'
Avatars.
avatars that you can get instead of just 1 now.
Oh,
Which
they
means you're less likely
They added an extra
to get
silly
a card.
avatar. I see what you're talking about.
They had an extra silly avatar, and 2 of the skins are leader skins. So you're like even less likely to get the card that you want. If
Man.
you want the Ratatosker or the Fenrir
I
or the.
I know
The
it's a
Geb
card
looks
game,
really cool.
and the fact that like because it's a card game, they can try to sell you like it's a booster packs like you would in real life. But can't we just buy the right cards we want here?
Right.
Like for the holiday
yeah.
seasons, like do we really have to ruin it with like a loot box mentality?
Especially when there's only like
Yeah.
8 options, right? Like,
That's what I mean. It's not like it's like you have to buy 8. Like if you have to buy 8 packs to get like the one skin you care about out of the full set, it's kind of terrible. Like I know, like for instance, I
Yeah.
didn't buy any of the Halloween skins because there was only like 1 or 2 I cared about in there, and it wasn't worth like the rest of the money to get the rest of them if I didn't hit them.
Right. And there's 300 runes, like for 1.
I think these are 200 runes, they said.
Oh,
Did
the
it-
patch notes say 300, but if they said it on the
I
stream,
think
at
they
200.
said somewhere that it was changed to 200, but I might be wrong.
I mean, like why is it this 150 runes like 2 packs is, right?
Right, exactly. Like right now, it's worth 4 packs just to get like a card. Like, and you're
Yeah.
not even guaranteed to get the one you want, and you might not even get a card. You might get a weird little avatar.
Or a card
Like-
back.
Yeah, I'm not on board.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of cards people really like in here. You know, we have Rat in here. I'm sure people will want the new West skin. I'm
I like
not
the
sure.
Alkush skin.
Is that a Geb Snowman? Everybody
Yeah.
can want
It's like
Geb
Geb,
Snowman,
of
right? That's like the highest tier of awesome. So
Have you guys seen the intro?
No.
no.
They actually posted it on their Twitter, and it's actually really sick. He dangles like he's falling from being held on a puppet strings, right? And then he falls down and does this creepy sideways neck thing, and
His creepy
That's
sideways
pretty
neck
funny.
thing.
Yeah, like he already does.
it looks really good. Trust me.
Oh, I'm sure it
Okay.
does, and that's what I'm saying though. But like,
Oh.
I feel like a lot of people aren't accessing these cool things because the paywall is just a little too high.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is 200 runes. So,
All right, maybe
Oh,
200.
it's
That's
200 is better,
slightly better. I
still
feel like
not.
it should be the cost of like 2 standard packs
yeah.
if they're not going to guarantee. Like, if you want to make it like, 300 runes, then guarantee the person what they're getting. You know.
Yeah.
What I will say is I like, as a business plan, having the cards be more accessible and then making money from cosmetics rather than
That is
I
going
agree.
the direction
I agree.
where it's really difficult to get into the game free to play. So I do kind of like that they're doing this sort of thing.
No, I mean I don't have problems with them making money. You know what I mean, from skins and that kind of stuff. My problem is just the fact that like, I know they lost money on me, for instance, because I'm not gonna. Like, I feel like if they were to reduce it, they probably would also get more of these things into people's hands, as well as more people were likely to buy them. I think it's like a win-win.
Yeah.
I think more community members will get them, and then more people they'll make more money because people are buying them. Like I said, like I skipped them because they were like the Halloween one because I didn't want to buy like all the packs to get the card I wanted potentially.
Yeah,
I see
like
where there's, like, that
I don't want to
gambling
spend
aspect.
runes and then potentially just get an avatar.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
if you're not gonna let us choose what we want, like reduce these to make it so like if we get an avatar, we don't feel that bad about it. We'll buy more. Like I feel
We
like
should
if,
have thrown the avatars in there. Like,
I-
I would
I agree.
definitely have bought.
Yeah, I would have bought some of the Halloween ones with the avatar and the card back there.
There was a few skins I wanted, but there was, just the avatar thing are the possibility of me getting crap done, right?
Right, because 300 runes is what, like $5?
Something like that, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's 8.
It's okay. It's $8 for 400 runes. It's $5 for 200. So if you
Right. So like 150, it would feel much better. For instance.
like, and you can't even buy in the right increments to buy the 300 rune packs,
Yeah.
right?
That's what I
So
mean.
you're spending
It's just a
$8.
terrible.
You're spending $8 for a little avatar, right? Like, the worst.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of people like shied away from them. You know what I mean? Because of this reason. Like a lot of people, I didn't see that many of these cards in ladder because people didn't want to pay the money for them. It was just too much.
Yeah, it's
Their
really.
scaling is also really
It's not great.
intense as you go to higher. So like, if I'm not buying the one of the larger packages, I don't really feel like I'm getting my money's worth just because of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't. You don't get as much of like a cost break as you think.
That's what I mean. You could spend $25 and not get a skin you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what
Well,
I'm
if
saying.
you
Like,
spend-
either guarantee
if you
the
spend-
skins or get rid of the garbage or cut down the price. Like, it has to be one
If
or
you
the other.
spend $25, you get 1,500 runes, and 1,500 runes, since they only cost 200 runes per pack, and there's 8 of them, you're almost guaranteed to get what you want. You're gonna be able to buy all the packs except for you only have 100 runes left, and you won't be able to buy the last pack for the Christmas one. So if you spend $25, you'll get everything, basically, except for one.
But that one will be that exact one.
Yeah, I was saying, like, if it's the one you want, it's just that's the worst thing anyway.
Yeah, but at this point, most of us have like 100 runes sitting around Hi-Rez drops, right? From watching streams.
I mean, is that what we're counting?
You can probably make it there.
All right. I kind of feel like we covered most things. Does anybody have any other topics they want to bring up?
I just want to talk about being able to queue your actions while.
That'd be
Oh,
nice.
God, yes, please.
Yeah, that'd be really nice.
This, I think, needs to be very high on the priority list for stuff to introduce within the next 2-3 patches, because countless times I've missed out on certain actions, certain attacks just by roping. I'm not like Naut. I go to the end of my turn quite often, so I really need to be able to queue those actions, and it's just so frustrating to lose a game because there isn't an opportunity to queue. I think every other card game has that, and Hand of the Gods needs it too.
I think the counterpoint to that is that while the animations are playing, your turn timer doesn't tick down.
It doesn't tick down, but then you've got to click exactly the time when the animation finishes.
Yeah,
So you've got to be super precise with that. And
my point is I feel like it's a thing that harms nobody, but only would help people. I'm all for it. I don't see why you can't. And there's a lot of times that like I want to queue stuff up, and like I know I've missed, for instance, battle cries.
Oh, I don't think
because
it's
of
a design choice. I think it's a programming issue.
It might very well be. Yeah.
I don't think the fact that you can't queue up is a design choice. I don't think they're like, you know what we shouldn't include on purpose? This.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. For sure.
It's a much different issue.
Well, his argument is that they should get that as a priority.
I think they should definitely be working on it for sure.
Yeah.
I agree. But I think like the half fix right now is that at least your time doesn't tick down while animations are happening.
Let me ask you guys this: do you guys think that this game was moved too quickly into like the competitive space before it was ready? Because I feel that way a lot about how things are set up and how we don't have balanced pantheons and how we're just pushing out so many new cards every week.
I don't think you can move too quickly into the competitive space. I think the earlier you start, like the better.
Okay.
I agree.
I guess. If you want to have more, like starting earlier doesn't mean you have to have less competitive tournaments. Like So
No,
might
but
as well start early.
I feel like they did these competitive tournaments as a way to try to bring players in, but then the game wasn't
Mhm.
very polished, so players didn't stick. You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
well, sure.
So my
but-
argument then would be like these big competitive tournaments, I feel like are a little bit too early, especially with all the bugs we've encountered too, like during them and during events. Like, could you imagine losing to a bug?
I mean,
Such
I
a
lost a
charge.
game.
Oh,
I lost a
what?
game
What? You
because
lost a tournament game to a bug? Oh yeah, I remember that.
It wasn't really a bug. It was my Steam, like when someone messages you on Steam, you get a little toast window.
Yeah.
So I went to click on that, right? But
But-
though I went to click on that, the Hand of the Gods was still in focus. So I accidentally clicked end turn
Ooh.
and just like skipped my turn 7.
I know you at one point cast a Sagittarius that summoned a pillar, and the pillars were banned for that tournament.
Oh yeah, that happened too.
So then, like,
I-
your game got restarted. Like, this kind of stuff seems like things that shouldn't be happening in events that they're trying to host. So
Right, the pillars in Hindu were all banned the first tournament that Hindu was released. So when I cast Sagittarius and like it broke the game because you couldn't actually play with Hindu yet. It wasn't just that it was banned for the tournament. Like they had patched the cards into the game, but they weren't playable with yet.
like, what happens if Sagittarius had hit a Fafnir during the Fafnir ban, right, for this last week?
I think Fafnir was allowed if Sagittarius hit him.
Yeah.
I think that's
But I mean,
that was.
that's what I mean though. Like, these are just like weird corner cases we start going into. Like, if the game was just done and polished, we'd be in a better spot for these events. I just feel like
Yeah,
it doesn't show
but-
well on the company, kind of like for these tournaments if they're having problems at the higher levels.
Like yes, but I'd still rather have them than not have them.
That's
I
definitely
think
fair.
If there
So-
wasn't a competitive scene, a lot of the players that are already at rank 1 would just stop playing because there isn't any incentive to play from that point.
No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I definitely think that right now, unfortunately, I know I'm hitting this point where it's just like, all right, I can get up. You know, at one point I was very close to like 2,500 elo, and it was just like, there's not worth anything. You get no value from
Yeah.
it. That season ended, I got nothing. You know what I mean? This next season we're gonna get some kind of thing, but I don't even know if they've announced what we're gonna get.
They haven't.
enough.
But at least now there's gauntlets.
Gauntlets
Yeah.
are helping. I really
They can
enjoy
do
the
that.
gauntlets.
Yeah. The
Yeah, gauntlets are definitely a good thing to add for a player, like I said. But I unfortunately can't even play them on stream because of I don't want to wait.
I was playing some gauntlet earlier today. I only had like 30-second queues.
I tried
That's
one
not too
earlier
bad.
today. Like I was
If you do it
trying.
late in the day, there's generally not a lot of people.
What was that cool one I
Yeah,
was trying to
you
play
just can't do it at
recently?
night. You need to do it early in the day because like the player pool for this game is small already, and since you can only lose once before you can't play queue for gauntlet anymore, like you need to do it earlier in the day before people have lost if you want to get faster queues, basically.
And
So
so,
like right after it resets.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it right after it resets, but like pretty soon thereafter.
we need more
like-
deck slots. Like one of the reasons I haven't
Yeah,
really
yes,
dabbled
yes.
with Gauntlet is I have to free up one of my decks.
Oh, I hate that too. I've had to do that every time I've tried to go Gauntlet. I've had to cut a deck out of my like the decks I play because
Yeah,
otherwise you don't have a slot. I agree with you. I think they should make
Exactly.
it just double it or triple it even.
Or when you go into gauntlet,
have a new
like
deck
have an
decision.
interface where you just build a deck for gauntlet and it's just your gauntlet deck, and just like arena. Like arena doesn't take up a deck slot, you know. Like when you go into
Yeah.
gauntlet, you pick the gauntlet you want to do, and then you build your deck for that gauntlet, and then you play your gauntlet. You don't need to like go through and pick a deck from your collection every time you go back into the gauntlet screen, and it doesn't
Yeah.
take up one of your deck slots.
People will ask me after I do my F. What's your deck? I don't know. I just deleted the deck. I need those deck slots.
Yeah, right, exactly.
No, I'm with you guys on that one. All right, guys. Though I fortunately have now hit 7 o'clock, so I have to go on to the official stream for Hand of the Gods. So that's where-
unfortunately?
All right. I mean, I enjoy talking with you guys. You know, I think this is a more interesting thing than just jamming some games for sure. So I'm gonna head over there in a second. I'm gonna see what Earl Meister is doing. But if you guys want to do this maybe next week or the week after, we can have different topics.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sounds
we didn't
great.
even get to touch on AI or the UI. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
Right.
no, for sure. So next week maybe
Alright,
we'll hit it
we'll
up
talk
with
about the
that. I know they're changing some other stuff. So you guys want to do this again next week or the week after?
We'll figure it out.
Okay. Yeah. Well, here you
see
go.
what happens.
All right. So I'm gonna head over there, guys, and thank you guys. You guys have any shout outs or anything you guys want to push while you're here?
Go watch
Push
WreckNFeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's a good streamer. He's a great guy. So check his stuff out. I think he's probably twitch.tv/WreckNFeed.
Probably something like that.
You'll see him. He's around.
Yeah. So have a great night, guys.
All right, see you, Naut. See you, Mordicant, and
See ya.
Salugi.
See ya. Good night.
Night.